All sports, all the time.
There's heroes and there's legends. Heroes get remembered. Legends never die.
This is the Spoken Podcast.
Hold your ears, folks. It's showtime.
I'm your host, Lance Twidwell.
Man, that kid, he can ball, man. He can ball.
Touchdown, Kansas City!
Patrick freaking Mahomes, baby!
Let's talk some sports, because that's what we're here to do.
You are tuned in to The Spoken.
This is the Spoken Podcast. I'm your host, Lance Twidwell, here inside the Starcade Media Studios with my guy, Trevor Twidwell.
What's good?
Episode 236 is in full swing, full motion. We're so happy to be here with you and for you to be here with us. Whether you are live streaming, whether you are podcasting, or whether you are YouTubing, we want to thank you so much for taking the time to be with us in this time as we have a jam-packed, fun-filled show for you guys this week. Again, another week of us being a little early with you guys, but if this is your first impression, allow us to give you the right first impression and be true to it. That's Trevor. I'm Lance. Welcome to the Spoken Podcast, man. We're so glad you guys are here with us today. Like I said, whether you were live streaming, podcasting, or YouTubing, we appreciate the time that you're taking to be with us because we know that Saturdays, your weekends as a whole, are a time for you to catch up on your sleep, hang out with family, or avoid family. However you do it, whatever your style is, man, for the fact that you guys took the time to hang out with us today means a lot. So we're going to make sure and give you guys as much of our honest assessments, honest takes, and more than anything, some fun, some entertainment to talk about the things we love the most here, which is sports. And obviously, I know a lot of Chiefs fans are going to be here today to talk with us about Chiefs content. The Chiefs have a game out in New York tonight. This upcoming game, this Week 4 matchup with the Jets. We're going to give you guys everything we got when it comes to that matchup. When it comes to what celebrities are going to be there, actually, we're going to try to not talk about that as much because everybody else decided to do that for us. So if you need the celebrity gossip, you can usually go to another show. That'd be fine with us. We're here to talk football as much as we possibly can. So I hope you guys are ready for that because that's what we're here to do. Again, if you guys have not already joined us on YouTube, go ahead and hit the subscribe button at the Spoken Podcast on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button, and more importantly, get into the chat today, guys. We have a live chat right below this video. If you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on Twitter, or X rather, you can click that link, go right into the comments, man, and let us know what you guys are thinking, what questions you guys have, what concerns you guys have, what takes you guys have, and we will get to that in our segment that we call Speak It in about an hour from now. We're obviously going to be handing out some L's at the end of the show. Like I said, we're going to give you guys a Chiefs-Jets preview. We're going to give you guys our takes, our predictions, and what we think is going to take place in that matchup. So strap in. It's going to be a fun show. I hope you guys are ready, and here we go. Trevor, I want to start with something first and foremost. Kansas City is what I've always said. This is Trevor and I are born and raised in the Kansas City area. We're from a little small town called Spring Hill, Kansas, which is south of Olathe by about 8-9 miles. And we've always identified as Kansas City people because Trevor and I have lived in the Kansas City area for now well over 20 years. And I've always looked at Kansas City as a town that is what we call a big little town or a little big town. It's not New York, it's not Houston or LA or any of these other major markets, but it's bigger than a lot of other places too that a lot of people live at and a lot of people are proud to call home. It's one of the most unique cities in America because it's not only just right in the dead center of everything where there's so much cross-culture and also unique culture here that's built and originated here as well, but it's also just the fact that there's a lot of opportunity here, a lot of untapped opportunity to be quite honest. And before the Patrick Mahomes era really took shape, I felt that that's what the Chiefs represented it as well. Trevor and I grew up a lifelong Chiefs fans since I can remember being a 4 or 5-year-old kid, seeing my dad screaming at the television, getting pissed at Gunther Cunningham, the defense not doing enough in a certain game where the offense finally played well, whatever the case was. I just remember my earliest memories was my grandfather and my father yelling at the TV screen, whether they were celebrating or whether they were pissed off at the team. And as I grew up as a Chiefs fan, there was almost like this victim mentality that we almost shared where we weren't getting enough attention. We weren't in the center, in the limelight enough. We weren't winning enough. These were all frustrations I grew up with as a Chiefs fan. That's probably why, naturally, I take more of a skeptical approach to this team, even though I'm very much enjoying this run that the Chiefs are on, and I think they're going to continue to be on. I always look at things from more of a skeptical perspective because that is what we as Chiefs fans grew up to be. There's always going to be the other shoe's going to hit. Eventually it's going to fall too. There's always going to be a catch. That's the heartbreak that we dealt with as Chiefs fans growing up. I also think that we weren't ready for what is now happening. And what do I mean by that? This last week truly revealed to me just how new to the grand stage and national limelight us Chiefs fans and KC natives really are. When you have a dynamic team led by superstar celebrities, this is how, and it will continue to be. Famous dates show up to games, ticket prices skyrocket, even more unfair, unwarranted, and unnecessary narratives are created by sports pundits to downplay and diminish the team that we love. Your team goes from a lovable loser to the most hated and hated on franchise in the sport seemingly overnight. But we have waited our entire lives for days like this. So my advice to fans out there that are feeling all these things going on right now where, our players getting drugged under the mud by exes, when you're seeing your team on every single sports show getting, drug under the mud as well, or saying that Patrick Mahomes is a better football player than Joe Burrow, but he's not a better quarterback. Nonsensical things like that, or when people are trying to say that people's dating lives are a stunt to get publicity that they don't actually need in the grand scheme of things. When you see all these things come about, and I know again we're used to seeing LA markets and LA players and New York markets and New York players getting this type of attention. I know we're not used to that here in Kansas City, but I really hope that you guys can learn to get used to it. Because as long as Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback here in Kansas City, there will be a status in Kansas City. There will be a clout in Kansas City. I said before the game last week against the Bears that I truly believe that Kansas City right now is the new Hollywood. I really believe that you're starting to see this growth of celebrity status, celebrity clout in Kansas City. Now, obviously, you don't have the mountains, you don't have the ocean, you don't have the theme parks, you don't have all the stuff. The attractions of the region. But when it comes to the attention, when it comes to the draw of a product that we have, there are very few places in America right now that have it like this. They really don't. I mean, it's really hard to find it. So I really hope that you guys, although, like I said, it's very new to us, it's very nuanced, it's very unlike anything that we've experienced in the past, and I'm talking about generations, not just this previous one or the current one. I'm talking about embracing what this now is, because you can't have one and not the other. You're not going to get celebrity status like this, Trevor, in Kansas City if you're not winning. You're not going to see Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce on every third commercial on television unless you're winning. You're not going to also have a winning team and not have this. Because you remember the Patriots dynasty was coming full tilt. Gronk was on commercials. Tom Brady was on commercials. Even Bill Belichick was on commercials. I mean, with that comes those things. And I know that some of these things can be annoying to y'all because I know we want to just focus on football. And trust me, me and Trevor, we echo those sentiments. We'd rather just focus on the game. But with the success on the field comes the things off the field, guys, and you just have to embrace it. And honestly, we need to learn to enjoy it, because I'll be honest with you, I'm loving seeing Andy Reid on these commercials. I think he steals every single commercial he's on when he does the little creepy finger nuggies thing.
Yeah, people deserve that personality, man.
It's amazing.
It's been lying dormant for a while, hasn't been exposed as much, and now it's really getting. I think a lot of that's because of Pat.
And you're seeing 100%, because you see Chad Henne on a Subway commercial.
Yeah.
And then you're seeing the New Heights podcast, maybe the most popular sports podcast in the nation right now. They had Chris Jones just on there. Literally, yeah. They had Chris Jones just on there, and they're talking about his wang falling out during his freaking combine thing.
Oh my God, the Chris Jones episode.
It was hilarious.
One of the best ever.
Talking about his interactions with Andy Reid, and how Andy Reid didn't talk to him for like 4 years.
How Tyreek has small man syndrome.
Yeah, there was some real shit. Like, none of this happens. Nobody cares about these things unless the winning that Kansas City is partaking in is happening.
Right.
So, guys, as long as this is happening, you should be happy, because that means the team is still winning games. They're still relevant in what matters most, which is winning as opposed to losing. Because we had our fair share of losing, guys. You remember how relevant this team was, where we had to sit here and enjoy watching from a side and from the stands all these, Aaron Rodgers discount double check commercials and, all these other Peyton Manning commercials. We had to watch from the distance. We had to be like, oh, that's cool. That's fine. I wish we had that. Damn it. Shit. No, now we do. And that is what we have. That's the reality here in Kansas City. That this is now Hollywood in NFL terms. I know that the Taylor Swift stuff has absolutely been stretched as much as my T-shirts. But I promise you, it is something that we should embrace and we should love and we should admire, because like I said, it only happens if in fact what we care about the most is actually still happening, and that is the Chiefs contending for Super Bowl. So I hope you guys are excited. I'm excited, and like I said on Twitter this last week, let's laugh at the negative noise and bask in the satisfying success of it all. And like the Carpenters said, and I even played the song, we've only just begun, because I don't believe this team is anywhere close to being done winning titles. I think that Andy Reid now knows more than ever that this team is going nowhere as long as Patrick Mahomes is still playing at a high level. Travis Kelce looks like he's finally starting to catch his wind. Chris Jones had 2 practices and is clearly the best interior defensive lineman in the league, and it's not close. That's showing you how superhuman this man is. And the rest of the defense is absolutely absurd with or without Nick Bolton. We can talk about that in a little bit because I had a take on that. But this team, guys, is built and ready to win championships. 2023 is obviously the most important part of all this, Trevor. But we understand this team is not built just for 2023. They have the youngest defense in the NFL. They have the 3rd cheapest defense in the NFL. That includes Chris Jones. And this offense is still very much still trying to find, not its identity, but trying to find its rhythm. The wide receiver room is still trying to grow into itself. Patrick Mahomes is still trying to connect with these guys and get that chemistry going. And this team is where it's at. Still the favorites to win the Super Bowl. Still the favorites to win the AFC West. Still the favorites to obviously win the AFC. So if this is the worst it's going to be for the next 5 to 10 years, I hope you guys are ready for Taylor Swift and Zoe Saldana and any other celebrity you could think of that you guys might have a crush on or, have admired from a distance for a long time. I hope you guys are ready to see them up close and personal, because I think that's only going to continue to extrapolate here in Kansas City as long as this team is what they are. And congratulations to Travis Kelce on the success, because he's had himself one hell of a couple weeks, man. And I think I've enjoyed it. Like I said, I stay out of people's personal affairs, Trev. We both do. That's something we very much take seriously on. But when it's out there and it's in the public, I enjoy it.
Not every guy finds a girlfriend that's worth $700+ million.
Right. So he's doing all right.
That's a dub.
Somehow Travis Kelce has found a way to outkick his coverage. Like that's saying something, man. When he's out there finding some prizes like that, and I think it's awesome. I stay out of their business like that, but I being a Chiefs fan and seeing how relevant our team is, both on the field and off the field, it's something that I've never experienced before. And instead of looking at it negatively, I'm looking at it and I'm enjoying the shit out of it. Yeah. And I hope you guys do too, man. So I didn't know if you had thoughts on this, because like I said, I know we try to avoid the whole Taylor Swift stuff. We avoid all the celebrity status stuff, but it's a part of this now. The Chiefs are a brand, a legitimate brand now. And they're as relevant as any franchise in American sports. So
yeah, I mean, it's no coincidence that Patrick Mahomes' nickname when he first got here was Showtime, because we're basically the Showtime Lakers on the football field, man. So Hollywood is fitting. It is becoming that, and has been that for a little bit, but it's reached new heights, if you will, with bringing Taylor Swift into the fold here. But man, not much more to add to that, bro. We've talked off camera about this before already, and yeah, it's getting wild, and going to a big city this weekend, New York, and she's going to be there again. And this is either way, if this is a publicity stunt or not, I don't think it is. I think it's real. And even if it doesn't work out, this is a big PR move for Travis Kelce. He's going to be on the roster, on the list. So this does is boost him for his what I believe will be a career in Hollywood. Whether it's a TV show or movies or whatever he's going to be in, I believe this guy's going to be, whether it's hosting something, I think this is a great move for him, leading into his next chapter of his life after football. Don't want to think about that right now, but I definitely think this is a massive boost for that as well. So
yeah, I agree with that. And if you guys have thoughts on this, like I said, go ahead and fill up the chat now. I'm sure you guys do, because it is the hottest. If we're being honest here, and it's crazy to say, because basketball, NBA is about to start back up. Yep. Massive trade with Dame Lillard going to the Bucks. The MLB season's coming to a close, and they're about to start postseason, which we know that's when everybody really starts to care about baseball. And Angel Hernandez is still an umpire, by the way. And then you have the NFL in full tilt. And yet, I think this Travis Kelce Taylor Swift story is the biggest story in sports right now. So it's incredible to see. Like, you even saw the Jets and their ticket sales absolutely going up and skyrocketing like that, because Taylor Swift is reported to be, she's going to be in attendance. And it sounds like Aaron Rodgers might be there as well. It sounds like he's going to be there to help try to boost the team a little bit in this matchup. But one more thing, Trevor, before we move on to this and get to this Chiefs-Jets preview. I saw a lot of people, and I mean a lot of people, on Twitter, on Facebook, griping about the ticket sales at Arrowhead, about how, since Taylor Swift went there, like all the ticket sales rose up and parking and all these other things are going the way they're going. Guys, I want to say this I want to be as sensitive about this as I possibly can, but I have to say it this way. You had to understand this was going to happen, right? As I just broke down, as Trevor just alluded to as well, with the winning comes attention, and with the attention comes celebrities, and with celebrities comes market. And just the winning alone was going to raise the prices of tickets. Because you have to understand, guys, the more the Chiefs win, the more of a brand they become and more of a high market demand they become, where people of high status, of high profile are going to want to attend these games. So ticket prices are going to go up naturally. You don't think that 30 years ago the Super Bowl prices, attending a Super Bowl, were the same as they are now? No, because as time went on and the NFL became more popular, Super Bowl tickets became that much more of a prized commodity, of an envied commodity, where people are chomping at the bit to grab these tickets. Guys, that's how any market works in any area of business. Do I naturally agree with it? No, I would love for the common fan to be able to afford it. But as somebody alluded to on my Twitter handle this week at Lance Has Spoken, they brought up the fact they've been season ticket holders for years now. They got their season tickets as soon as right before Patrick Mahomes took over, because they knew it was going to be special. And their season tickets haven't gone up more than $100 in totality since that time, because they got it locked in. They did it smart. The common, casual, bandwagon, whatever you want to call fan that's now coming around, the Chiefs know those people are coming. And so they have to be able to raise the prices to make as much money as they possibly can on this. It's a business, guys. And the Hunt family aren't a bunch of billionaires for no reason. They know what they're doing. They understand the value of a commodity, of an asset. And they know right now they have the number one asset in all of sports. That's Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Andy Reid, all of them working together the way they are. It's going to make the Hunts a lot of money. And this is how it goes. And I know it sucks for some people out there that may not afford to be able to go to games with their family and stuff because it's too expensive. I'm sorry, guys. That really does suck. I wish it was good for everybody, but that's not the reality of business. Because I'm also sure the same people that say that probably can't afford to go to Capitol Grill on the weekends or go to other high-priced, expensive places like that, because of the fact that they know those are high-commodity, high-profile places. That's the reality of life, man. That's just how it goes, and I wish it wasn't the case, but I needed to address that as well because, guys, the Chiefs, although there's been 5 years of success, there's going to be more that's coming with this as time goes on, and I need people to be prepared for that. This isn't your dad's Chiefs. This isn't where you're going to the games with your dad and hoping that this team can just crack into the playoffs. Yeah. This is a team now that's expected to win Super Bowls. It's a much different thing. I mean, you ask anybody that's spent their last 20 years at Gillette Stadium or back in the day of the Dallas Cowboys in the 90s, things changed once they started winning, guys. Ticket prices went up. Brand recognition changed. Like, everything changes. There's so much more clout that comes with winning.
There's trade-offs.
Thank you. That's the perfect way of putting it. And so I hope you guys understand that's how this is going to go. I know that we're used to things being the way they are. Again, we're a big, small town. We're a small, big town. We like tradition. We like things. We're set in our ways here. It's the Midwest. Woohoo.
We don't like change.
We don't like change, but we also want to win. So you can't have it both ways, guys, because as you win, like Trevor said, there are trade-offs. You have to be able to accept that. You have to be able to be willing to compromise, guys. Otherwise, we can go back to being a 8 to 9 win team a year and hope that that's enough to crack in as a wild card team and lose in the first round. You guys want to go back to those times? Sure, prices will go down and you can afford to go to games like that, and you're going to be watching a mediocre team every single year. Or you can stay at home and enjoy it on your television, or maybe, one game a year you decide to be, really spend on it and go and see the team one time and enjoy seeing a team that's winning 12 to 15 games a year going to Super Bowls. I'd rather door number 2. Sure, let's go to Chiefs-Jets preview, because I think that the Chiefs are in the midst of a stretch of their schedule where they really could capitalize on it. Going into the season, the Chiefs had one of the toughest, I think maybe even the toughest schedule in football. Mm-hmm. With Aaron Rodgers healthy, with all this hype of Sean Payton with the Broncos, with the Chargers and all their pressure.
This being a primetime game for a reason.
Yes, the Bengals were, all of a sudden people are convincing themselves they're going to be a Super Bowl the Super Bowl favorites this year. Chris Collins was like, well, Mike, I think the Bengals are going to go to the Super Bowl again. Like all this hype in the AFC side, rightfully so, because Trevor Lawrence, everyone's expecting big things from the Jaguars. My guy Anthony Richardson, even a team that's not going to win anything. There's a lot of talent on the AFC side of things, and with the Chiefs having the schedule they had, this was supposed to be one of those prime time, literally, matchups. I was very much looking forward to the opportunity of seeing Aaron Rodgers versus Patrick Mahomes finally.
Football guys don't want to give it to us, man.
Yeah, week 4. No, he doesn't even make it to week 4. In fact, he only makes it through 4 plays of his season with the Jets. And once again, for the second straight week, because we know the Chiefs absolutely pummeled the Bears just a week ago, 41-10. Wasn't even that close, to be honest. They gave away 10 points in garbage time. In fact, the Chiefs have not given up a touchdown since Chris Jones started playing. Just a little factoid there for you guys. So for the second straight week, though, the Chiefs are not only facing an inferior opponent, they're facing a team that has a ton of distractions. A little bit different than the Bears. I think the Jets as a whole, as a nucleus, are trying their best to stay as unified as they possibly can, where the Bears are just willy-nilly right now. We don't know what direction they're going in. We know the Jets had a plan and a purpose going into this season. Hard Knocks showed us a little bit of it. Aaron Rodgers is going to be the guy that steps in and changes the trajectory of this franchise, the history of this franchise. And I truly believe that was going to be the case. Trevor and I both agreed on this, that we were big on the Jets this year, because I still believe Aaron Rodgers has got it.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's still gonna have it after this Achilles tear. It sounds like he's still very much in plan to come back and try to play and continue his career into his 40s with the Jets. We'll see if that happens. I'm rooting for him. I hope it happens because he's one of my favorite players of all time. Same with Trevor, obviously. But we knew that their plan with this year was to have the stellar defense, have a lot of young talent around Aaron Rodgers, hope the offensive line could hold down the fort, and Aaron Rodgers is the difference between them being a 7-win team and in the playoffs with all this potential and being a 10-plus win team, maybe winning their division and getting to maybe a conference championship or even the Super Bowl. We knew that was their plan and purpose. And it's really disappointing to see that's not the case now, because now this team is dealing with the same thing they dealt with last year and the year before that, and it is the disappointment that is Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson is what's killing this team right now. This team is too good to be where they're at right now, 1-2. They won that week 1 game because I think that Josh Allen literally donated it. It was like a Venmo exchange. Like Reed just handed that game to them. And give the Jets credit for what they did. Awesome punt return that sealed the victory, things of that nature. But let's be honest, guys. The Bills lost that game. The Bills straight up lost the game. Josh Allen had one of his worst games of his career, and outside of that, the Jets have just pretty much just been getting outclassed by their opposition. The Patriots scored 15 points last week against them, and the game didn't honestly feel close. The Jets just cannot move the ball. They are literally the worst offense in the NFL, literally ranked dead last. Yep. And Zach Wilson just seems to somehow get worse. He just does not look good. He's not an NFL quarterback. He's not made for this job. It's been proven time and time again. I have no idea how this guy ever made it, got drafted, let alone got drafted 2nd overall. I think there's a death nail in his career. I think we know what it is. And I think this week against the Chiefs could very well be the last game that Zach Wilson ever starts for the Jets. Not that Trevor Siemian's some great option, but dude, this is in prime time at home against the defending Super Bowl champions. The world's going to be watching this game, literally, because Taylor Swift's going to be there. Like I said, you're going to have all the Swifties watching. You're going to see everybody watching this kid go out there and fail. And I think this will be the death nail in his career, man. I hate to say it that way because I don't want to wish bad things on people, but I think this will be the end of it. So, like I said, the Chiefs are walking into this matchup with a lot of good things rolling their way. Not only are they 2-1 on a 2-game winning streak, feeling much better about themselves with this get-right game they just had against the Chicago Bears, but also the fact that they are facing a team, like I said, that football is not their main focus right now. It's the defense of their quarterback. It's when can Aaron Rodgers get back? Is Robert Saleh safe? What are we now going to become? Is this defense going to give it their effort? Like, there's so many questions around this team, and I think that the Chiefs are going to come in this game feeling so much better about themselves than the Jets have probably felt in the last 60, 70 years. I mean, it's so bad, Trevor, that Joe Namath, a guy that I think is highly overrated, but he's a living legend. Right? He's the one big name. He's like the George Brett of the Royals to the Jets.
Shit.
Yeah, hell yeah, he's a cool dude, but let's be real, the dude was not good himself.
Sure.
But he's calling into radio stations in New York, literally calling out the team, questioning whether these guys know what they're doing, saying Zach Wilson sucks, like he stinks, and all these other things. Like, this is bad. This is really, really bad, like Stephen A. once said in that one clip. Yeah. This is bad. This is really, really bad. It's the truth. Things are really, really bad, and things are only about to get worse for them guys, because I'm going to cut right to the chase. I don't see how this game's going to be close. I respect the hell out of the Jets defense. I respect the hell out of Robert Saleh. I like him a lot. I think he's a hell of a defensive coordinator. And I do believe that he's got what it takes to be a head coach. I'm not naturally somebody that likes to have a head coach as a defensive-minded guy, but I think that Robert's got it. He's a leader. He's an alpha male. He's got what it takes, I think. Men listen to this dude. They follow him.
He demands a room.
Yes, and I respect him vehemently. And I think that he should keep his job no matter how this season ends. I would like to see him get one real shot. If Aaron Rodgers ends up coming back and is still Aaron Rodgers or close to what Aaron Rodgers was, I'd like to see what Robert Saleh can do as a head coach with an awesome quarterback. I think it's only fair he gets that shot. But having said that, guys, Patrick Mahomes against Robert Saleh's defenses is pretty good. Yeah. So he's only faced him twice, but one of them was in the Super Bowl 59 or 54, Super Bowl 54 against the 49ers when Robert Saleh was still the defensive coordinator. The Chiefs are 2-0 against Robert Saleh's defenses. 63 completion percentage. Patrick Mahomes completes 63% of his passes. He averages 300 passing yards per game with 6 total touchdowns. One of those are a rushing touchdown with 2 interceptions, 7.6 yards per attempt with a 97 quarterback rating. So, in other words, Patrick Mahomes, and by the way, one of those other games was in 2018. It was Patrick Mahomes' 4th career start of his career. So this was Patrick Mahomes still learning his ways, and I was at that game, actually. It was the home opener, Patrick Mahomes' first home game at Arrowhead, and he torched that defense. Absolutely just dismantled that defense. So Robert Saleh has been taking some L's against Patrick Mahomes in this offense for quite some time. Now, the advantage is I think that this is one of the best, if not the best, defense from a talent perspective that Robert's probably ever had, because he was the DC for the 49ers, but I think that he never had a shutdown corner like Sauce. I don't think he ever had an interior presence like Quinnen Williams. No. Now, he did have Nick Bosa, so that kind of offsets things, but he has linebackers like C.J. Mosley. They got a crap ton of talent on that defensive side. So this is going to be a defense the Chiefs have to take seriously. And at the same time, the Chiefs don't have a Tyreek Hill. They don't have Sammy Watkins right now. They don't have a lot of those guys. They have a lot of young, underdeveloped wide receivers surrounding an aging tight end that still looks like he could be great, but he is getting older. So Patrick Mahomes has a real challenge on his hands against this defense. The only problem, though, Trevor, is the fact that the Jets literally can't score points.
And their offensive line sucks.
It's horrible, man.
Their offensive line is terrible.
Listen to this stat real quick. I posted this a couple days ago. The Jets' total points this season, 42. Mm-hmm. The Chiefs scored 41 in week 3. Like, think about, again, I understand it was the Bears, but the Chiefs scored 34 points at half. Like, that's the point I'm trying to make here, guys. This is why this schedule is working out perfectly for the Chiefs, even with the Jets defense being really good, which I expect them to come into this game and want to put on a show. We're even hearing Jets players, which, by the way, thank you for doing this. We're hearing Jets players saying, we got something for Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Yeah. All I think it is, Trevor, is the something is going to be that end zone that has the Jets logo in it.
That's
names
of these players that said that?
I'll find it real quick for you because I actually saw that it was.
Or is it just like an anonymous?
No.
Wow.
Oh yeah, it was Jermaine Johnson, defensive lineman, Jermaine Johnson. Actually, you know what? Let me go play the quote for you, Trevor, so you can hear it yourself.
Okay.
We got something for him. I just wanted to ask you about rush integrity as far as the lanes are concerned and going against a guy like Mahomes.
Yeah. We got something for him.
Got something for him. So I said it's going to be that end zone.
Did they have something for Mac Jones? Because they couldn't really get to him as much as they wanted to. But I don't know.
Well, this is what I'm saying. Like I like the confidence, but I hope they understand that this is what the Chiefs were looking for. Even Patrick Mahomes' trainer, Bobby Stroop, said himself, "Thank you."
Yeah.
Literally quote tweeted that. Thank you. Because the Chiefs didn't come into this game with a ton of motivation of like, oh my God, guys, we better get up and ready. Yes, it is a primetime game. Yes, Taylor Swift's going to be there.
You know me, bro. I'm all about those takes. Keep them coming.
Yes.
Every week. I hope every time, every team we play every week says something like that. Yeah. So like, shout out Bobby. Thank you. Exactly.
So we know that this matchup is going to be, can the Jets defense do enough to slow the Chiefs down to where this could be an upset special of a lifetime on primetime television? Yes, if Patrick Mahomes goes in there and plays like Josh Allen, Trevor, the Chiefs could lose this game.
Yeah.
If he goes in there and has 4 or 5 turnovers, sure, that could happen. But that's what it took for them to beat the Bills. And then it took a walk-off punt, which never happens, by the way. It happens maybe once a year. That's the only way this game's ever going to go that way, or just a myriad of injuries the Chiefs suffer, which let's hope that isn't the case. But that's the only way this is going to happen, guys. For me, I look at it like this. I understand, that everyone looks at spreads. Chiefs are, 9.5, 10-point favorites in this game on the road, which is substantial.
I think they were 10.5, but I think it's come down a little bit.
Is it? Okay, well, I know that Benny Heisler was saying on 610 yesterday that whenever the Chiefs have been double-digit road favorites,
we barely cover.
They're 0-4 at covering the spread. I don't give a shit about that because the Chiefs won all 4 of those games. So I don't really worry about those things. That's not something I'm really focused on as a spread. I don't care if the Chiefs blow them out or not. But, Trevor, I am expecting them to win this game by a substantial margin because, again, if Zach Wilson just had anything to his game where I'm like, oh, you know what? He can at least run the ball. Oh, you know what? At least he can, he gets on these hot streaks every once in a while. If he had anything to give me any pause, I'd sit here and go, okay, this could be like a 24-21 kind of game. I can see the Chiefs like squeaking out a field goal victory on the road.
Right.
That's not the case at all, man. I don't mean to disrespect the pro franchise here. I'm trying to come up with something to make this matchup interesting. But there's really not much there, dude. Yeah. And again, you have an awesome defense.
Similar to last week.
You have an awesome defense, but here's the thing, Trevor. Even with an awesome defense, if your offense keeps going 3 and out, that defense is going to wear down. And if you have Patrick Mahomes on the field, that's going to wear them down as well. So they're getting worn down by Patrick Mahomes, and they're getting worn down by their own offense. That's a double whammy there, man. I think this defense is going to eventually wear down in this game, and I think the Chiefs are going to start putting up some points and putting on a spectacle because, as we know, you said it yourself, Trevor, he's called Showtime for a reason. And this team is the Showtime of them all right now in the NFL and all of American sports. I think this could potentially be a back-to-back weeks of a serious beatdown, Trevor. What are your thoughts?
I don't think it's going to be that big of a beatdown. I'm not expecting too much from our offense. I think we go in and get it done. Granted, it is prime time game, and Pat likes to showcase his talents, if you will, on primetime games a lot of times. So this is a make or break game for the Jets too. So they are a feisty team that needs to stay in the mix in their own division. So I think they're going to bring it. I do think that defense is going to bring it, and I think it will be a little tighter than we expect. But I don't expect points to be scored from the Jets side. I think that their defense will come out to compete against our offense. And our offense, granted, we had a big blowout spot last week, but I think our offense is still figuring some things out. I think Kadarius Toney is going to play this week. So we're getting him back in the mix. So I mean, if we go out there and blow them out, and if we go out there and win 27-10 or 27-7 or 27-3, I wouldn't be surprised either.
That sounds like a beatdown to me.
Yeah. That could no. That's what I'm saying. That outcome could definitely happen. What I'm expecting this Jets defense to really be on their P's and Q's, at least for the first half, make it look difficult, and we could pull away in the second half.
Yeah.
But there's just not going to be points scored from the Jets side to be competitive, back and forth. This is not, because our defense, this comes down to our defense again for me. This game is going to be more of a defensive game, I believe, in my mind. I will take the under on this game, but I just don't see it as a big blow-up spot for our offense. And I don't see the Jets defense being some kind of special unit where they force us into multiple turnovers and, have a defensive touchdown or something like that. I think we got that out of our system in week 1. And like you said, Pat's balled out against Robert Saleh's defense numerous times before in the past with a different team, of course. But, it's in New York. I get it. There's going to be a lot of pressure, and Pat thrives under the pressure. Zach Williams is going to crumble under pressure. He's probably going to get benched in this game most likely after he throws his second pick. I think our defense is last week was a blow-up spot for our offense. This week is an absolute blow-up spot for our defense. I think our defense is going to go out here and just mop these boys up. He said that they got something for us. Okay, well, our defense has got multiple things for y'all, because this is going to be, I think Chris Jones is going to just absolutely, he's really working on getting that Defensive Player of the Year. I think Chris Jones could go out there and have 2-3 sacks. I really do. I think this is a massive blow-up spot for Chris Jones, George Karlaftis, and our edge guys. Felix. I think these guys are all ready to eat. This is not. They can't run the ball well. Their offensive line sucks. They can't throw the ball because Zach Wilson sucks. It's a terrible combination, man. It's a perfect storm for our defense to go in there and just pad those stats, and that's what I expect this to be. And it sucks because we wanted this game to be special. We wanted this game to be that, finally have that showdown between the two great gunslingers in Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes, my two favorite quarterbacks. I really wanted to see that. I've wanted to see that since Patrick Mahomes has been in the league. I've been begging for that matchup, and we're just not going to get it, man. So now we have Zach Wilson. And all respect to Saleh, man, but this team is just in shambles without a true captain out there, steering the ship offensively, because that defense is great and prepared, which is why I'm giving them the credit to keep this game semi-close for at least a little while. But I don't even know if I see them scoring a touchdown, to be honest. I think they're going to hit maybe a few field goals to keep it semi-competitive within reach. I don't see them hitting pay dirt, man. I just don't. I don't see the Jets offense being able to move the ball well enough unless we fumble or create somewhere we have a fumble or a muff punt or something like that sets them up. There's no way I see them moving the ball down the field from the 20 to the end zone. I just don't see it happening.
So you don't see a touchdown?
I don't.
I 100% agree with you. I'm glad
Yeah.
you said it now because that was going to be a prediction I had where, at least in time where it's not garbage time, because let's be real, the Bears didn't score a real touchdown last week.
I don't think they scored double digits, so I think maybe three, like I said, 3 field goals probably makes the most sense.
Right.
If they get down close enough to where they can hit 3 field goals, and then we're up 21-9, 21-6, and we get out there with the dub.
Well, and let's be honest, because the Chiefs are going to have their own deficiencies, especially on the defensive side, because they will be they'll be without 2 starting defensive players, or at least 2 defensive contributors, in Nick Bolton and Jalen Watson. Jalen Watson and Nick Bolton missed practice pretty much all week. In fact, I think Nick Bolton missed all of practice this week.
Yeah.
So that ankle injury, I believe it's an ankle injury. It's still looming. But, I don't want to segue too far off of this, Trevor, because I think that's the, like I said, even with those 2 guys out, I don't see how the Jets are going to be able to overcome how talented and how dangerous this Chiefs defense is. I know the Browns have been unreal this year. I for some reason, though, Trevor, I believe in this Chiefs defense more because of the fact that I think that they're a more complete unit. I know Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward and the other cornerback, maybe the best duo in the league outside of Snead and McDuffie right now. And Myles Garrett and Chris Jones are very much like 1A, 1B when it comes to like pass rushers and things like that. They're up there with Nick Bosa and TJ Watt and those other guys. I like this defense a little bit more just because, like I said, I think that you saw how inefficient the Chiefs' offense was at the beginning of the year, and without Chris Jones, they still held the Lions like they did, and the Lions have been showing how good of an offense they are since that game.
Yeah.
I don't want to veer too far off this, Trevor, but I had a take yesterday. I want to get your take on it because I had a lot of pushback on it because I'm sure that's shocking to you. But when it comes to Nick Bolton, this will be his 2nd game he's missed, and I know the Chiefs played a terrible offense last week against the Bears, and Drew Tranquill stepped in, led the team in tackles, looked incredible. But again, you could contextualize that fairly and say, well, you played a shit franchise that week, so Nick Bolton wasn't missed. And this week, it's probably not going to be any different because the Jets' offense is even worse than the Bears. But I think that if and when the Chiefs dominate this opponent again defensively, I think it does somewhat prove that although Nick Bolton is incredible, and he's awesome at his position, he and his position aren't what the Chiefs need to invest long-term money at. And let me explain real quick why I said, and this is verbatim. The 2023 Chiefs are a better team with Bolton. I'm a big fan of Bolton. I would love for him to be here in KC long-term, but we discussed the reality of other players due to getting their extensions, like Creed Humphrey, Chris Jones, Trey Smith. All these players I just named right here, Trevor, to me are more important than Nick Bolton moving forward. We've had our debates on this before. And we've seen the Chiefs literally win a Super Bowl with a mediocre middle linebacker in Anthony Hitchens just a few years ago. And we're currently witnessing the Chiefs not miss a beat with Drew Tranquill, who they only paid $5 million on a 1-year deal to this offseason, in his place, in Nick Bolton's place. They're not missing a beat with him so far. Maybe I'll be wrong, but I don't think I'm going to be. And we talk about how the Chiefs will have to make tough choices with the rosters moving forward because when you're a successful team like this, you have to make tough choices to continue to pay the right guys and let guys walk and then reload your roster with young talent like they do in the draft every single year. Yep. And I said months ago, Trevor, that I think L'Jarius Sneed's going to be one of those guys that doesn't make money here in Kansas City because he's not an asset the Chiefs can't live without. He plays a position where the Chiefs have been able to find talent late in the draft, so it justifies them moving off of him. I think they're going to do the same thing with Nick Bolton, unfortunately. He's got 1 year left on his deal after this season. They're showing you that they can go and get a free agent veteran like Drew Tranquill that can fill in the gap and do it adequately and draft guys. They drafted Nick Bolton. He didn't have a ton of expectations on him. He was a second-round pick. They got him through the trade with the Ravens for the Orlando Brown trade, 58th overall. They got him in that trade. A lot of people were calling him a project. Ended up becoming something pretty special. What's to say the Chiefs can't find that again and save that money? And again, I'm somebody that if we find out the Chiefs give him a 3-4 year deal, I'm with it. I love Nick Bolton. Dude is from Mizzou. He came here to Kansas City. He's a big-time Chiefs guy. 7th in tackles since his rookie season with 187. This guy's productive. But, Trevor, you and I both know the middle linebacker position is a very replaceable position, and the Chiefs have won with or without great players there. I mean, they had Derrick Johnson all those years, one of my favorite Chiefs of all time. They didn't win anything with him. And they move off of him because he got old, get Patrick Mahomes, have one of the worst middle linebacker rooms in the entire NFL, didn't stop him from winning a Super Bowl because they have the important positions filled. So if they keep Nick Bolton, I'm for it. But it better be at a market value. It better be a team-friendly deal, not market value, where they're paying him an exorbitant amount of money to play a position that's essentially the running back room of the defense. I would like to see them spend that money elsewhere by investing into Chris Jones, getting more edge rush, saving some money for George Karlaftis, who will be up for a contract in a couple of years, adding more veteran presences in cornerback and in edge rush. Things like that I think are more important positions to fill, and quite frankly, are harder to fill. So this isn't a diss session on Bolton like people thought I was trying to say. I'm looking at this from a business perspective because as I started the show, when I said, the Chiefs, things are changing, guys. There's trade-offs. With continual winning, you're going to have to continue to make tough decisions and not keep all the fan favorites. I know Nick Bolton is a major fan favorite because there's a lot of Mizzou fans that are also Chiefs fans. They want to see this guy stay here. I'm for it. But if it comes down to, guys, we're going to have to either pay him or Creed Humphrey or him or Trey Smith or him, or if it comes down to things like that, it's a no-brainer. You got to move off of Nick Bolton. What are your thoughts on that situation, Trev?
I want to keep Bolton here. The fact that we're deep at that position and we brought in Tranquil as depth and we have a very good deep defense, that's good. That's a good problem to have, and I'm glad that we have that. But that doesn't mean that Nick Bolton his value is diminished because of the fact that we have great depth. That's what good teams should do, and that's the kind of moves good teams make, and we've done that. When Dak Prescott went down and was it Cooper came in? Was it Cooper as the backup quarterback that came in for him? Cooper Rush, yeah. And then they were winning games. They're on a hot streak with him. No one thought. I mean, there was probably a sect of fans that thought Cooper Rush might be the better quarterback for that run to keep it going or whatever. But it was still Dak Prescott's job, and he was still the better quarterback and still is the better quarterback for that team. So having depth at a certain position is good to keep your team flowing and moving on, carrying that scheme. But let's not forget that Nick Bolton is a captain on this defense. Nick Bolton is a guy that should have had 2 touchdowns in the Super Bowl. 2 touchdowns, and was going to be with it. That second touchdown didn't get taken off the board on some BS call. He's the Super Bowl MVP, and we're having a whole different discussion right now. I think he's a very valuable asset. I think he's a guy that's in the right place at the right time. I think he's a guy that could be on a Hall of Fame trajectory as far as what his statistics are and what his leadership has been for this defense. Drew Tranquil is good, a solid player, but we brought him in to be a rotational guy and a guy that for situations like this. And we've seen one game without Nick, and we beat the Bears. Cool. I get it. I'm sure we'll beat the Jets without Nick Bolton as well. But if it comes down to contracts, I'm still very much on the Nick Bolton side. I want to keep him around. I like his leadership. Those kind of guys are important. Derek Johnson was very important for the defenses that we loved growing up. I look at him in the same vein. Local guy or not, that doesn't really matter as much to me. What I've seen on the field from him is incredible. And I think he's still such a young guy at this moment and still has a bright future ahead, and he's still getting better. He's still getting better, and the guy could have been the Super Bowl MVP over Patrick Mahomes. That alone is crazy. But the guy just tends to be in the right place at the right time. He's the captain of this defense. He's out there guiding guys, shifting guys around the defensive line. If you see something he doesn't like, communicates. That's something you need. That's not something that's easily replaced. And whatever happens with Chris Jones this offseason, which I think is more likely that he stays now. But if he does depart, and if L'Jarius Sneed does depart, we're going to need to keep guys like Nick Bolton around as captains of this defense.
I think what you're saying is mostly fair. The part I'll push back on, though, is the Dak Prescott analogy, because of the fact that Dak and Cooper Rush play such a more significant and more valuable position that obviously I'm going to agree with you on that. That sure. You're not going to win. Like we both would agree the Cowboys would not have won 12-5 and won a playoff game with Cooper Rush.
Sure.
Dak Prescott obviously was that final piece that made all that.
But there's a system when it comes to quarterback. Even Matt Castle and Tom Brady. Matt Castle had a Pro Bowl year when Tom Brady.
But
went
there's
down.
a reason why.
Do
Matt
we really
Castle,
think he was just as good as Tom Brady?
No. But I think it eventually showed when the NFL got some film on Matt Castle. They figured him out.
Sure.
That's what separates the greats from the. So I'm not. What this argument isn't. I'm gonna explain as clear as I can. This isn't an anti-Nick Bolton segment. This isn't me saying I don't want Nick Bolton. I'm trying to contextualize his value for the team, because our conversations all the time are what? How does this team win as many Super Bowls as possible? And if we're looking at this team moving forward this year and beyond, let's just look at this year just first and foremost, because that's obviously what's of most importance. Yeah. Let's say Nick Bolton never plays another game this season. Trevor, do you still believe the Chiefs can win the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Like, if Chris Jones doesn't play, we're a little more hesitant to say that. If Travis Kelce doesn't play,
yeah, it's Chris Jones.
That's what I'm saying. But it's not just because of Chris Jones and what he is; it's the position.
Yeah,
it's positional value. Like if George Karlaftis goes down for the year, we're like, shit, that's a big loss.
We don't have as much depth there, but if we get a Menhu back, that's
true. 100% agree. I'm just saying that's a big loss.
Of course,
and Nick Bolton would be a sizable loss, but again, like we talked about, you do have Drew Tranquill to step in and fill in that gap.
Well, we haven't been challenged yet. Without Nick Bolton, we haven't have a sample size where our defense is getting challenged without our captain out there.
If you go down, okay, let's go down like the defensive like positional rankings of like value. You would probably say, and I don't want to speak for you, but I'm gonna give you my opinion. You'll disagree if you. First of all, it's edge rush or pass rush, like generally just pass rush, lockdown corner, veteran safety, outside linebackers that play the style.
In today's game, it definitely seems that's
and then it's middle
linebackers. But at the same time, people like to forget that the middle linebacker is depending on the defense, the team, and the scheme. Nick Bolton is counted on by Spagnuolo to be that voice out there.
Yeah.
And he's been that. He was that in the Super Bowl, and that's why he was in the right place at the right time, made those plays, scared the shit out of Jalen Hurts to force that play. Sure. Should have had 2 touchdowns in the Super Bowl.
I hate to sound like I'm taking that away from Nick Bolton.
Those are big time plays, dude.
But let's be real. That play only happens if 2 things happen. Chris Jones gets the double team where he tracks both Kelce and the right guard.
Sure.
And Jalen Hurts panics. Like, if those 2 things don't happen, Nick Bolton doesn't have that.
You can say the same thing about Derek Johnson, his time here. I mean, he had Tamba, he had Jared Allen, he had Justin Houston, he had a lot of guys getting after the quarterbacks too, but he capitalized and he was the captain of the defense.
And I'm the biggest DJ fan, you know.
And
this.
he communicated
but
with guys
who's more
along.
valuable in that time, DJ or Tamba Hali?
That's
clearly
tough.
It was clearly Tamba. Like he was the guy getting to the quarterback. Like
sure, but I mean, you need a captain out there communicating with guys, moving guys around. If they see something, they'll tap them in the ass. Hey, it's going this way, or blah blah blah.
But 3-4 years ago, before Bolton was here, who was the captain on the defense? It was Tyrann Mathieu. He plays safety.
Yeah.
So you can find guys at other positions that can do that.
That's what I'm saying though. I think the coaches see those guys as extremely valuable more than just X's and O's because they are a voice of the defense. He's that stoic leader, which I love. And listen, man, I just think that, like, I think this comes down to, for me and you in this conversation, I think it comes down to you when it comes down to contracts with Trey Smith and Nick Bolton. Because that's probably what it's going to come down to. I'm on the Nick Bolton side.
Yeah, and I'm struggling on Trey.
I think Trey Smith's more replaceable in my personal opinion. I do. I know he's been but I think we can replace a guard more than we could
even if that's
a top
the case,
tier linebacker.
Even if let's say that, let's go by your scenario and say that right guard is more easily replaceable. Which one do you think is more valuable to this team's success, though? Because we're talking about protecting Patrick Mahomes and playing middle linebacker.
I think we could find another right guard over finding possibly the NFL leading tackler of the season.
Okay,
I do, and the captain of this defense. I do. I think let's go back to Tyrann Mathieu. When we had Tyrann Mathieu, would you rather have Trey Smith or Tyrann Mathieu at that time? I'd rather have Tyrann Mathieu. Because he's the captain of the defense, he's a very valuable asset.
I'm just somebody that takes the protection of Patrick Mahomes so seriously.
It's not easy.
I mean, Patrick Mahomes was sacked one time this season. It wasn't even on the offensive line.
Yeah, this isn't an easy decision if it comes down to these 2 guys. I mean, if we go Trey Smith, I'm fine with that too.
And it may not even come down to it.
Sure.
They might be able to still pay all these guys.
Sure.
That's still a reality because the TV contracts are going up, the cap's going up substantially. There will be other players off the books by that time. Yeah. Restructures, things like that. Patrick Mahomes will do another restructure here and there.
One of these guys is going to be odd man out, though. It's probably going to be L'Jarius Sneed, if we're being honest.
Yeah, he's
because I think Shamari Connor is the next second coming of him. So
if Sneed was going to get paid, he would have already gotten paid.
Yeah.
So I hate to say this, but I've already kind of like made peace with that. Like I love Sneed and I appreciate the 4 years he's given the Chiefs.
Yeah.
But he's going to be elsewhere next season.
But I will say, I mean, if Nick Bolton misses a couple more games and Drew Tranquill's out there balling, that will
the good thing about
schematically show Spag some things.
Well, the good thing for Bolton is that this isn't his contract year.
Well, and he's already a champ.
Right,
he's made massive plays in the Super Bowl.
He's got another whole season to show, like, I'm the man.
Yeah.
Chiefs, you better sign me, to a long-term deal. Or, hey, that next team, they've seen what I've done over these 4 years. They're going to pay me.
He seems like one of those guys, though. I'm not trying to cast judgment on what his personality is, but he just seems like one of those guys. Like, yeah, I'll take that to stay here. He just kind of seems like one of those guys. Not saying that he doesn't want to go chase the bag and get general. I think he'll get paid well if he stays here either way. But he just seems like a guy that's from here, loves this team, was a fan of this team. That's a special thing. You can go win multiple Super Bowls. Maybe that matters more to him. That matters more to some guys. You know what I mean? So when it comes down to contracts, I don't know, man. I think some of these guys understand what's going on here and they want to be around for that.
Right. So. And again, I hope he's that guy because I want Nick. Guys, please, I hope you guys understand what I'm saying here. I am team keep Nick Bolton. I'm saying that I have to also be honest and look at this team, because this isn't Madden where you can just turn off caps, salary caps. You sign everybody. If you have to, because we know the Chiefs are a team that very much likes to be crafty with their contracts. If I'm looking at this team right now moving forward, I'm thinking, okay, Creed's going nowhere. I'm a little bit bigger on Trey Smith than Trevor is. That's okay.
Yep.
I believe they need to keep him because I think the nucleus and the chemistry that him and Creed have, him and that up front interior defensive line, and Juwan Taylor and those guys, they're building that chemistry. I'd like to keep that in place. Trey Smith's also 24 years old. I would love to keep him on this offensive line as long as possible because that motherfucker is nasty. I want to see him on this offensive line as long as I can because I trust that guy. And trust is everything when it comes to offensive line. Sure. And then there's Nick Bolton. And like I said, if the Chiefs feel that he is a prize, they got to keep him, I can sign off on it. I just don't want to see the Chiefs pay too much money at a position that I believe is one of the least valuable positions on a defense in today's NFL. Because if this was 1996 and offenses are built around the running game, Nick Bolton is one of the most important pieces of this defense because of the fact that you have to have middle linebacker. Why do you think Ray Lewis was so great?
Yeah.
Because of the fact that he knew he had to shut down the run game.
Yeah, Luke Kuechly, guys like that.
You had to shut the run game down. One of my favorite players of all time, Patrick Willis. You had to shut down the run game, man.
Yeah.
That's what made those guys. If Nick Bolton, see, that's why we always said that Nick Bolton's a throwback. Because he's not great at pass protection. He's great at what? Narrowing down and zoning in on those running backs and tight ends and
or the quarterbacks. He's good at getting pressure on the quarterback as well. He's incredible, man.
Exactly.
That's what DJ was great at too.
Right,
sniffing
100%.
Out runs and getting at the quarterbacks.
That's why those guys are more throwback
getting
linebackers.
Forward progress calls on them. Yeah.
So I'm all for having a guy like Bolton on this team. But again, when you're a throwback player and you play more like that old school style of football, and it doesn't really fit into the context of today's NFL, which is more pass happy, I don't want to see that guy make a ton of money on this team and take away from money you could be spending elsewhere that ups the ante for your team elsewhere.
Outside of Roquan Smith, is that position really making crazy money though?
No, I think the average
Roquan Smith's contract was kind of out of.
I think the average veteran linebacker or middle linebacker right now is making like $10 to $12 million a year.
So I don't think.
But again, Trevor, if you're talking about 2 Super Bowl championships, this dude, or even 3 by next year, if they win 3 Super Bowls, they go on a three-peat, right? He's going to have a massive market. And he'll be, 25, 26 at that point?
Prime of his career.
Bruh. Bolton's going to have a massive contract, somebody else, some New York Giants team, that needs to build the middle of their defense up, that's going to pay him a 4-year, $68 million deal. You know what I mean? Something like that. I can totally see that happening. And again, if the Chiefs get him on a 3-4 year deal worth, $40 million, oh my God, yes, absolutely. Sign me up for that shit. Because that's what, $12-13 million a year right there. You can keep your guys in the middle of the defense, lock up an awesome leader, like you said. He checks all the boxes.
Yeah.
Dude stays out of trouble. Outside of this last week, he's been healthy his whole career. He's an absolute general. He's a leader of men. He's stoic. I like guys like that too on my defense as well that keep calm.
Just leads by example.
Yes. I love Nick Bolton. I want him to be here. I
think he's a core guy. I think he's a core guy on Spags' defense. I think he matters a lot to Spags more than we even realize. I think obviously we see what we see on tape and the plays he makes, but I think he's just a core guy for that group, man. I really do, and especially with this group being so young, having a guy that's still young but is at this point the veteran in that defense, one of the main veterans in that defense at this point. That's a leadership and guidance for these young guys in this defense is important. I think he's the guy. Honestly, him and Chris Jones are probably the guys in that defense that can and obviously L'Jarius Sneed, but that go out there and help groom those young guys.
One more question before we get to the people, because I want to know what everybody else is thinking about this, because I know this is a topic that a lot of people did respond to yesterday, both on Facebook and on X. Yeah. If the Chiefs, let's say, were to play the Bills, or let's say Joe Burrow's healthy by the time they face the Bengals, Nick Bolton's not playing. Defense looks this good, or at least looks awesome. Does that change your opinion at all? Because I know right now, like I said, they're not facing good offenses, so it's kind of hard to really they're facing bad offenses. So they're
because I've seen Nick Bolton make the biggest plays on the biggest stage, and he's been a part of 2 championship runs here. No, because I get it. It's a good scheme. And Drew Tranquill is an incredible fill-in. We got him here for that reason. But like I said, man, I think I just feel like Nick Bolton is better than Tranquill. I think Nick Bolton is better than most guys we can go try to draft or replace him with. I think he's shown. I think he's made big plays at big time, and he's been a big time player for us, man. And I feel like he's a core guy for Spags. I think he's a core guy for this defense, and has been a big part of this new movement of what this defense has become. And I know his position is not as valuable anymore in today's game, but you still need to stop the run. You still need a guy that gets after the quarterback from the linebacker position, outside of the edge. You know what I mean? So I don't know. For me, man, I'm biased. Maybe I have a brain block here, but I'm not budging from my Nick Bolton stance. I think he's very important. And if we go get exposed, maybe, like I said, if he misses another game when we go play the Chargers or something like that, and we're playing just fine, we roll the Chargers as well, or we play really good offense and we roll them, and our defense is still, look, our defense played great week 1 without Chris Jones. That doesn't make me feel any different about Chris Jones.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's even a bigger example. Chris Jones wasn't out there, and we still should have beat the Lions. We only allowed 1 real touchdown to one of the best offenses in the league. We just saw them go shred the Packers defense like it was shredded cheese, no pun intended. You know what I mean? So I think this scheme that Spags has been building for the last few years is really coming to it's really coming to its peak right now. I think this defense is peaking, and I think this scheme is great. And I think guys that we put in position where we have a lot of depth and maturity on this defense, and I think we have good replacement players, and I think that's all it is right now. We've had 1 sample size without Nick Bolton. I don't hope we struggle without him in any way, because that's the point of having depth and guys like Tranquil. So no, it doesn't really change my mind too much, man. I think with or without him, we're going to be a good defense, but I think with him, we're always better.
Yeah, one principle, one rule, Trevor. This is something I've just started to utilize when it comes to free agent players or players that the Chiefs need to sign back. It's always the question: do I believe that player is better at his job than Brett Veach, or is Brett Veach better at his job than that player? For me, like I think that Nick Bolton's awesome, but I do believe, I have enough faith in Brett Veach that he could replace a linebacker like that far more than I think Bolton is going to be better at his job than I think Brett Veach is right now. That's just my opinion. Like Chris Jones, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, those are guys that are better at their job than Brett Veach is.
Yeah,
which is why I don't want to see those guys.
I'll say this: I don't think Nick Bolton's like one of those guys we lose. I'm like, oh my god, how are we going to replace him? It's not like that. If we lose Chris Jones, it's like, fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a unicorn guy. Nick Bolton's not a unicorn. I'm not putting him on that scale. He's not. He's not a unicorn. Middle linebackers can be replaced for sure, but I think context matters though. In the context of the Chiefs, I think what he means to the Chiefs and the Chiefs defense, and what he is for Spags and he's Spags. It's like the game of telephone. He's Spags' voice out there on the field. You know what I mean? He kind of knows what Spags wants at this point, and his ability to help, audible to the audibles of the offense. When things change on the offensive side, he slaps the guys on the defensive linemen on the ass. He communicates with Chris Jones up the middle, and if he sees some things adjusting on the offensive side of things, he's incredible at that. That's why he's so good at being in the right place at the right time. Similar to DJ. I'll say it again. There's a lot of that mentality in him. He's that quiet leader. DJ was a quiet leader. I loved that about him. I don't know. He's not a guy that cannot be replaced. For sure he can be replaced, but I think there's extracurricular things. I think there's intangible things that he has that he brings to this defense that's more than just X's and O's. You know what I mean? So, but he's not a unicorn. Like losing Chris Jones is a whole different thing, and I think at this point, we'll see. But with Amenahu, I think Amenahu's more of a star, has more star capability than Nick Bolton does in my mind personally. Because I think he's going to bring a whole new dynamic to this defensive line.
Right.
But I just love the like I said, the stoic calmness, the poised when things are chaotic, tight game in a Super Bowl. Who's there to make the play? Fucking, it's either Chris Jones or it's Nick Bolton. And Nick Bolton should have, like I said, 2 scores in that game. That's big time stuff, and that's just a guy I want to keep around, man.
Gotcha. Let's get to you guys, man. It's time to do it, man. Let's get to Speak It. I want to hear from you. Whatever your questions, takes, concerns, comments, whatever you guys have for us to respond to react to, go ahead and hit us up on the line right now. Hit us up on YouTube. Hit subscribe, hit the notification button, and get in that chat. Trevor, what are the people saying today, man?
Man, let me get to some of these. We got some questions, numerous questions here from our guy Brian Parrott.
Nice.
Do y'all see Josh Williams overtaking Jalen Watson on the depth chart anytime soon? Seems like he's coming on pretty hard.
Yeah, Joshua Williams has been an unsung hero on this defense for the last 2 years. We saw him make big impact plays in the playoff run, the Super Bowl run last year, and he's looked incredible so far this season, which was very surprising because at training camp, Joshua Williams was the one that was struggling. So he's really turned it back on.
Yeah, we were hearing some negative things about him.
Yeah, it was kind of concerning me a little bit. And we know that the cornerback position, defensive backs as a whole, can have those fluctuation seasons where one season they look awesome, next year they're just completely lost. They regain it. I like what Joshua Williams is doing so far, but you know what's weird is that I don't look at him and Jalen Watson as direct competition, if that makes sense, because I think that the way Spags utilizes his defenses, he keeps everybody fresh.
Rotational
There's a
guys.
constant rotation of guys. That's why a lot of times this defense stays healthy, unlike other defenses that just wear dudes down. They keep guys in rotation. I think it's never going to be...
Even Chris Jones gets rotated.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever going to be a
like
profound, okay, it's Joshua Williams' job or it's Jalen Watson's job. Obviously, Joshua Williams has a chance to capitalize because Jalen Watson's out this week. And he didn't exactly have a great start to the season.
Yep.
But Jalen Watson also had a baller game last week and a game previous to that. So I think that it's going to be more of just a committee. I'm not going to look at it as competition. I look at them as equal motivators, equal contributors, and they're just going to help continue to build this defense into an elite defense that they already are. And I think it's going to continue to surmount as the season continues.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself. Next question, Brian Parrott. Is FAU gonna get home before Omenihu kicks him off to the bench?
See,
that's a good problem to have, baby.
It's the same principle, though. I think that with the Josh Williams, Jalen Watson thing, I think Omenihu is obviously going to be the focal point of that
the better
position.
player. That's not even the question.
Right now, yes. But I actually love FAU's upside, and you're seeing it already.
I get it, but Omenihu, I'm telling you, y'all are going to see
he'll be out the gate. Don't get wrong. He'll burst through that gate.
He's
I'm
so
saying
good, man.
that this is going to be, you said it kind of very subtly about how this is a good problem to have.
Yes.
It's going to be FAU's going to get the majority of the snaps.
Yep.
And then, Omenihu's going to
Yeah.
get the majority of the snaps, and then FAU is going to come in here on third down, third and longs, and just go target practice. Because we're seeing it already, dude. FAU is getting pressures on quarterbacks. He's getting in the backfield. He's wrecking shop.
Yeah.
He hasn't been getting sacks yet, but he's getting back. You saw the Trevor Lawrence play. When Chris Jones hit Trevor Lawrence in the back, who hit him in the front? It was FAU. They pretzeled that big man.
It was a half sack,
yeah, exactly. And I think that the FAU is going to show that he deserves to get snaps, and I love it because, like I said, this is only a good problem when you have guys that are chomping at the bit and taking full advantage of whatever snaps they get. And with Spagnuolo being one of those defensive coordinators that gets guys in and out of the lineup, you're going to see both these guys develop and build that chemistry to be equal contributors at getting to the quarterback.
Gotcha. Next question from Brian. Do we actually have the O-line to effectively run the ball against top defenses?
100%, yes.
Of course, we saw it last year against the Niners.
It's a cultural thing. It's a mentality thing. Andy Reid loves to pass the ball, loves to run the ball through the air. You know what? I almost wish that Andy Reid would let me go take him up north and take him to Mount Rushmore and then say it slow. Rushmore. Because they need to run the ball more. You saw it. Guys, I know they played the shitty-ass Bears.
We just don't do it, yeah.
But when you play a balanced attack, look what they did against the Jaguars. Didn't score a ton of points. When they came out there in the third quarter and ran the ball, what happened? They had their best drive of the day. You have a balanced attack. Look at the days of Al Saunders, man. I know we love to reminisce and all the other stuff. But, guys, when Trent Green was the quarterback here in Kansas City, when they had that historically great offensive line, they could pass protect with the best of them. But you know what they were great at also? Getting Priest Holmes open. Larry Johnson getting chances. Derek Blaylock getting chances to score the ball and get in the end zone. Those guys were great at that because they had the opportunity to build that chemistry. If you allow this offensive line to push forward, they can play just as good as the Eagles' offensive line, because I think this is just as good as the Eagles' offensive line. The Eagles get all the praise and glory because why? They get those chances. This is all. I'm not saying the Chiefs need to run the ball like the Eagles, but they need to run the ball just a few more times per game. Yeah. If they ran the ball 4 or 5 more times per game and took some of that pressure off of them protecting Patrick Mahomes every single week.
We ran it good last week.
Exactly.
That's for sure.
Have a balanced attack and utilize these types of games against inferior opponents to do that, to build on that. And honestly, this is the perfect opportunity to do so because this is a great front seven that the Jets have. One of the best in football. If you go out there this week and let's say the Chiefs run for 160 rushing yards, is that not a great sign? Where Patrick Mahomes can – I'm not saying Patrick ain't going to do his thing, but if Patrick Mahomes throws for 248 yards and 3 touchdowns this week, it's kind of just like a pedestrian game for him and his own standards, but the Chiefs run for 150-plus yards and get 2 touchdowns, is that not a great balanced attack? I would much rather have that than Patrick throws the ball 49 times, you know what I mean, and the Chiefs win by a touchdown. They're like, why did they –
I think we will. I think we will see some running in this game, though.
I hope
I think
so,
we're going to go up 10, 12 points and dare them to try to match that, which they will not be able to. And I think we're going to run the hell out of the ball with Clyde, Pacheco, and I think even Pat's going to have some scrambles. We'll probably have some design run plays for like Kadarius and some jet sweep stuff. I think that's going to be a thing as well. I do think we utilize the running game much more this week to carry over from last week. I think we had 20-plus rushes last week, which was good to see. And we were very effective. Granted, it's against the Bears, but yes, this is a tough defensive line against the Jets. But if the question is, do we have the O-line that can run the ball effectively, it's not even a question.
Right.
I think this offensive line is built to run, if we're being honest. We just don't do it enough. That's why we need to trade for Derrick Henry and just pound the ball. Let's see. Next question from Brian Parrott. That's a serious take, though. I actually think we should trade for Derrick Henry.
I got dude. No. Stop the presses. We're not. Hold on, Brian. Everybody, hold. We're gonna get to your questions. Please continue that take because you know I'm a Derrick John Henry fan.
I mean, why not? Why not trade for Derrick Henry?
Shit.
Tennessee,
Okay, what would you be willing to give up for
Tennessee
Derrick
has
Henry?
done this year. I'll give them a 4th or a 5th.
Okay.
You don't think Tennessee would take that?
They would take that? You think they would take that for Derrick Henry, the greatest player?
He's about to be 30 years old.
Okay.
He's got more wear and tear than any running back. But could you? All of our short yardage problems are solved.
Holy shit.
Imagine goal line with Derrick Henry on the Chiefs offense.
When I tell you guys that Trevor and I do not talk about these things before the show, I mean this. I did not know this was a take hit.
It's something I've been thinking about all week, and I didn't hear it. It's just something I randomly was just been thinking about. Listen, we've been having short yardage issues. Imagine Derrick Henry back there with Patrick Mahomes and this O-line.
Yeah.
The Tennessee Titans are done this year. I know we don't want to count them out too early because they're always a team that's like a zombie. They come back to life and they find a way to win 8-9 games and somehow sneak into the playoffs or be a contender to make the playoffs. Right. So you can never count them out. Tannehill's awful this year. That offensive line might be the worst in the league. And Derrick Henry is getting outsnapped by Tajay Spears, the running back that they drafted. I think it looks like they're ready to move on from him, if I'm being honest. So I think throwing a 4th or a 5th round pick for Derrick Henry, which might be a little rich. Do you want to give that away for an aging running back? But I think for a Super Bowl run this year, for Derrick Henry, man, one of the greatest running backs of all time. You talk about a throwback. That guy would take care of all of our short yardage and goal line issues. There would be no question.
You know you ain't gonna try to get me to debate you on this.
I just can't imagine. I mean, imagine seeing Henry in the back of a Chiefs jersey.
Oh my God!
I'm just saying, for one season, maybe 2, having that guy in our backfield would be something.
I would sign me up.
That's just something.
Especially if they're willing to only give up if the Chiefs only got him for like a 3rd or like a 4th and a conditional 5th round pick.
That's me though. It's not going to happen, but that's something I would do. I don't think Veach would do it. I don't think Veach would go after an aging running back, but
no, and he doesn't match this offense. But yeah,
he's suffering over. I'm just saying, even as like a package guy, just to granted, Derrick Henry's more than a package guy, but I think having him in the backfield would be incredible. Anyways, Brian Parrott, next question: Are we gonna get stuck with Reed and MVS forever?
Oh no, I would make a serious bet that this will be the final season for both guys here in Kansas City. Yeah. I think Justin Reed been a solid contributor. I think all of his guaranteed money though is off of his deal because this is his 2nd year if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this is his 2nd season on a 3-year deal, and I think after this season there's no guaranteed money left, no real cap hits to his contract. I have to look it up, but his contract was pretty team friendly to begin with, so I think that this will probably be his last season. He's not old. I think he's 27, 28 years old, but I don't think he's getting an extension, and I don't think the Chiefs are going to.
It's not productive, man.
Yeah, he had a good week last week. He had the tip drill that ended up in Mike Edwards' hands. I appreciate that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to downplay what Justin Reed has done.
He's been cracking this year, though.
He's been cracking. You can tell he's trying to play for that next contract because he knows, man, that his time in Kansas City might be up, and this will be the last time he really probably gets that limelight. Don't tell him I said that, guys, because he'll try to block me again on X.
He'll find this clip somehow.
For speaking the truth. But I think that MVS is definitely gone because MVS is making $9 million this year to basically be a decoy. He's just not. Everybody tried to pump this guy, but continues to try to pump him.
I was hyped when we brought him over here, bro. I'm not even gonna lie.
I told you guys he's played with 2 of the most talented quarterbacks in the history of the NFL, and he averages 450 yards and 2 touchdowns a season. Yeah. He's just he spreads the. I will give it to him. He's fast as shit. He knows how to stretch the field.
And he's had the opportunity.
Yeah.
He just squandered it.
I know.
We got Rashee Rice. Rookie year, Rashee Rice looking better than he ever has in this offense.
Yes, and in fairness, I will say this. In fairness, MVS should have had a touchdown last week.
Yeah.
A 50-yard touchdown.
But I mean, even then,
that bullshit penalty on Juwan Taylor.
Yeah. He's forever in my good graces because of that Bengals game last year.
100%.
He's forever in my graces. He was the man that game. So I mean, getting us that dub was huge. Getting that off of our back was huge. So I will forever be thankful to MVS for that game. Next question, Brian Parrott. With Tranquil looking invincible, how much should Willie Gay be worried?
Not at all. Yeah. Not at all. Here
because he is prototypically more comparison to Willie Gay than he is Nick Bolton. Nick Bolton's different.
We didn't understand something, guys, about Drew Tranquil. He is a rental. He is not going to be here long term. He's 28 now.
He's probably the best rental you can go get at linebacker position. But
he's not going to be in Kansas City next season.
Yeah.
Drew Tranquill is a one-off.
He's going to go get the bag next year.
Yes. The Chiefs do not re-sign guys like him unless they're what are they, Trevor? Unless they're what?
What's that?
One of one unicorn players.
Yeah.
Drew Tranquill, I love him to death, and I loved that signing so much based upon the dollars they got him on and the fact this dude's awesome.
Yeah.
But he's too old. He's not going to be here for longer than this season. And Willie Gay might not be either, but it has nothing to do with Drew Tranquill. It has everything to do with the fact that the Chiefs may not want to invest long-term dollars in Willie Gay because he might not be a guy they view as a long-term answer. I love Willie Gay. I've been a big fan of his for a long time. But he's a guy that I think the Chiefs can and will ultimately replace younger and cheaper. And so that's what it has. If Drew Tranquill wasn't on this team, I'd still have that take.
Yeah.
I think that's just how it's going to go for Willie. And Willie's going to get the bag somewhere else. He's going to make 16, 17
If it came down
to
keeping one or the other, who would you keep?
Willie Gay.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. Oh, dude, he's, 3-4 years younger?
Yeah.
More athletically gifted. I love Drew Tranquill, don't get me wrong. But and let's be real, Drew Tranquill's always also had some injury concerns.
Yeah. Even back in college.
He's mostly been healthy his career. He's very resilient, too. He got hurt multiple times last week, still played.
I agree. I'd keep Willie Gay as well.
And I love Drew Tranquill, but I would much rather have a guy that's 25 years old that's now just starting.
And he's such a rah guy. We need that balance with guys like Nick Bolton, and then you got the loudmouth Willie Gay.
And I hate to compare the character of the men because Drew seems like the salt of the earth kind of dude.
Sure.
Super charitable, awesome family man, like
coach's favorite kind of guy. Just goes to work.
Yeah, you always want guys like that.
He's
on
like
a team,
the Noah Gray of the defense.
He's gonna be a guy that
goes to work.
He's gonna be a guy that retires at like 34, 35 years old, and ends up getting on TV or like in coaching.
Yeah.
Definitely
can see him as a coach.
He's gonna be a guy though that ends up with like 5 or 6 teams. Willie Gay is the type of dude that can be on a team for 10, 11 years.
Yeah.
He's different. He just has
dog,
more. You know what I mean? Yeah, he's an absolute dog.
Yeah, for sure. Ruben DeCruz, next question. Guys, I love this question. Do you think Hardman regrets leaving the Chiefs? 100%. You already know he's got one catch on the year, bro.
That's
you already know.
That's a very unfair question.
We would utilize him so much more over here.
That's such an unfair question. McCole didn't leave the Chiefs. The Chiefs didn't want him.
Well, I think he could have got a 1 year, $1 million or $6 million.
The Chiefs did not offer McCole a contract. They didn't. This has been confirmed. Nate Taylor, all the inside guys have all confirmed
Similar
this.
like the Tyron
The Chiefs
situation?
did not want McCole Hardman back. So it's not if the context was McCole or the Chiefs were offering McCole money and he didn't stay, that I would agree. Oh yeah, he's regretting it.
Do you think he misses the Chiefs?
100%. I will agree with that. But the Chiefs did not want. I think it's a mistake on the Chiefs' behalf because they could really use
Wolverine
McCole.
meme where he's looking at the picture.
Who would you rather have right now, Trevor? Be honest. MVS or McCole?
McCole.
100%.
I want production, baby.
Who would you rather have, Justin Watson or McCole?
McCole.
Thank you.
Production. I know that he scores touchdowns.
So I honestly think, to be honest with you, and I know that people are going to get mad at me for saying this, but I don't give a shit.
I love McCole, bro.
The Chiefs miss McCole. Right now, they've been missing McCole.
Especially with Kadarius Toney,
who I think
is Kadarius Toney's better, but he can't stay on the field. So if McCole was here, he'd be on the field for sure.
McCole is a productive player, dude.
Absolutely, dude. 100%. Like, I miss McCole. He's a solid player.
We wouldn't be sitting here where I don't have to have these Looney Tunes takes about no more punt returns because McCole would take care of that.
That's for sure. Yeah, and Richard James already out.
Yeah, man.
On IR, yeah.
McCole was available every week until this last season, man.
Yeah, I wish they would have thrown some bones to him to keep him around, but I mean, it is what it is. That's their faith in Tony. Tony's got to get on the field, though. Let's see. Let's see what questions we got here, guys.
Man, John Harrison isn't schooling me today? What the hell's going on here, John? You're supposed to be my statistician.
There was Brian Parrott. There was a lot of talk about the Chiefs without CJ and TK losing by 1 to the hapless Lions. How you doing, Donkos? Hey, man, I was down on the Broncos. I could not understand all the hype on the Broncos leading into this year. It was insane. They got their cheeks clapped historically last week. God, that felt so good to watch that.
It was fun.
Every
time Red Zone kept showing they had another Dolphins touchdown.
8 touchdowns between the two running backs and the Dolphins, dude.
The Dolphins.
God
I know
damn.
I know that Mike McDaniel came out and said that they decided not to kick that goal and go for the record.
I feel like it was personal for Mike
McDaniel.
I feel like it was personal.
But to be honest with you, I think that's even more disrespectful because it's like if you have your
I feel bad for you guys.
Like when Jon Snow, Game of Thrones, Jon Snow had the Ramsey Bolton on the ground. He's beating the fuck out of him, and he just kind of like looks at him like I could end you right now, but I'm not going to. Like that's what it felt like with the Dolphins. And, I'm gonna let my sister Sansa finish you off with the dogs. Like, dude, it really felt like the Dolphins were like just like at that point playing with the root. It was just a merciless beatdown. Like you said, the cheeks were clapped.
Yeah, man, it was
enjoyed that one.
It was a pleasure. It was an absolute. And we haven't really talked about that game on this show, but that was and a historical ass whipping, and I loved every second of seeing. Like, dude, like you said, red zone highlight, boom, touchdown, touchdown, interception, like, bro,
Mostert,
that was the wildest shit.
Bro.
I hope Justin Fields runs all over them this week. I really do.
And it's so bad. The Broncos are so bad right now that Russell Wilson isn't their biggest problem. Like, think about that. Like,
are they tanking for?
He's not good.
A quarterback here.
Okay, and
maybe
I saw Robert Griffin and all these other guys I like saying stuff like, "Oh, well, Russell's not the problem in Denver. Is he the solution?" Because I don't remember him being paid all that money to not be the problem.
Are they tanking for Caleb?
I don't. There's no way, dude. Think about it. They can't get out of Russell's contract until after 2026.
Maybe somebody will trade for him. I don't know.
There's no way. Who's trading for Russell Wilson?
He hasn't been awful this year. If
He's
I'm being
honest, he's going to be 35
honest.
in 2 months.
Yeah.
He's an undersized.
Their defense is the problem.
He's an undersized quarterback who's been sacked 550 times in his career. He's washed.
Yeah.
He's washed.
Yep. Fun to watch. John Harrison, I just want to throw his quote out there. The NFL paved the way. This is referring to the Jets leading up to the Jets game. The NFL paved the way for the Jets to get off to a fast start with Rodgers this year. In the first 13 games, 5 road games. One is Buffalo. One is the Giants in their own stadium. They only leave the state 3 times in 14. It's just not going to happen this year.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
And I do remember hearing about that a couple months ago about how Rodgers could really capitalize on that low amount of traveling for the team.
A lot of home games.
Yeah.
A lot of early home games.
A lot of in-state games. Yep.
Yeah. Let's see. Looking for question marks here, guys. A lot of people are agreeing about Tamba being the man at that time. I want to say this. Brian Perry agrees with me real quick. Trevor makes a very good point. This stretch of games are non-tests. Nobody has shown up ready to play yet. Not even the Lions or Jags really. Rice is gonna get valuable experience. These are tune-ups.
I can see that. I mean, the only problem is that Rashi keeps dropping the damn ball. He has to hold on to the ball, man. If he starts holding on to the ball, then Andy's going to start putting him in packages.
If he scored those 2 touchdowns that he was short on last week, we would be having a whole other discussion who's the wide receiver 1 here. Mm-hmm. I just want to throw this on the screen real quick. Rebecca Crum, please don't mention Taylor Swift. You got it. Let's focus on the NFL. You got it. You're not going to get a lot of that. We'll glaze over that every once in a while, but you're not going to get a lot of that from us on this show. The Swifties will do enough of that for us. I guarantee you that. Let's see here. This is a live. I appreciate you guys, man. Ruben says, I'm with Trevor. I see Lance's point, though, as well. So we got some back and forth on who agrees with who. Let's see. HBTC displayed that Justin Ross is being ignored. Do you think so, too?
Justin Ross?
Yeah.
No, I don't think he's being ignored. I think what it is,
eased in, man.
He's being eased in. Look, you guys know where I've stood on the wide receiver room this whole time, that I want to see Justin Ross prove himself, and I'm still very much open-minded to that, and I want to see him get more usage. I am on that. I don't look at it as he's being ignored. I think the Chiefs had faith going into the season in guys more than Justin Ross. He made the roster, so they clearly believe in him.
Yeah.
They clearly believe that he can be an asset going forward. I just think they look at guys like Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore and Rashee Rice, guys that they've actually either traded valuable picks for or used valuable picks on to become their guys before Justin Ross. It's unfair for a guy like Justin Ross, who's an undrafted free agent, who has had to overcome so much physically and emotionally and mentally, I'm sure, to get back to where he's at, It's unfair for you to say, okay, you made it. Now go out there and take 14 targets. You can't do it.
This is why we and you were on the show very much heavily tampering on the expectations of him, especially this year. He's a future move, very much possibly. In the next 3-4 years, he can definitely become a big player, a big contributor for this offense if he grows into that. But the guy's coming off a major spinal fusion. That is a major injury. Could be a life-threatening injury. Could lose his ability to walk if it goes wrong.
Right.
A lot of things he had to ease his way back into. I know all the highlight reels were fun in this offseason. Later on this year, week 10, week 11, we could be talking about Justin Ross becoming a massive, especially I think he's a massive red zone threat.
Right.
I think he can have those Jody Fortson kind of plays.
Right.
Those just because he's so tall and so physically demanding. But as an every snap player, he's never going to be that this year. He's never going to be a guy that's getting 70, 80% of snaps.
He may never be that guy.
I don't think he's going to be that. We don't know if his body can hold up, and I trust the Chiefs coaching staff who sees him on a daily basis of practice to know whether he can do that.
And I love Cole, my guy. How about those Chiefs? I love him.
Yeah.
He's great at what he does. The reason I disagree with it is it's mostly the wording. He's saying ignore. Okay, my question to that would be, what is it they're ignoring? Because are you telling me that you have more faith in what Justin Ross is at this time than the other guys I just mentioned? Trevor, right now, do you have more faith in him as an overall player than Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore, Rashee Rice?
No.
I don't.
No.
I would love for him to eventually get to a place where that could become an argument, but to tell me that they're ignoring him is to tell me that they're letting him sit while he should be out there being the guy or being one of those guys when I don't think he's proven that yet.
Listen, let's keep it real within reality right now. What we know, what we've seen. What have we seen from Justin Ross to say he deserves more?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
We've seen nothing from him to say that we deserve. All we're going off is speculation that he looks prototypically like a guy that can go out there and do some work on the field, but he hasn't.
Right.
And I know he hasn't been given a lot of opportunity yet, but that's probably for good reason. I don't think Andy Reid's just holding him off the field, and the offensive coaches are holding him off the field because they just want to.
And sure, you know where the word ignore comes from, the word ignorance.
Right.
So what you're saying is you're telling me the team is being ignorant to what Justin Ross
purposely
is?
being negligent of him.
I don't believe that.
It's not,
I believe this team's high on him. Just because of the
well,
fact
he wouldn't have made the roster going through what he did if we didn't. Yeah.
What I'm saying, guys, is I don't think the team is being ignorant with Justin Ross. I think they're being diligent with Justin Ross because they want to see him, like Trevor
wise.
said, they want him to be a guy in week 14, week 15 that shows, okay, now we see why this guy's on this team. Because right now, guys, what they have to do is they have to be diligent with the guys, like I said, that they used valuable draft assets on. They traded a 3rd and a 6th round pick last year to get Kadarius Toney. Mm-hmm. They used a 2nd round pick on both Sky Moore and Rashee Rice. Those are more important commodities than Justin Ross.
I just think it was an unfair amount of expectations coming into the season for Justin Ross because the kid's done nothing in the NFL
Trevor,
level,
what
man.
What you be talking about?
You know what I mean?
What you be talking about, Trev?
It's unfair. And I think he, like I said, I think he could become one of those guys. But right now, Rashee Rice is getting way more snaps and deservingly so. Rashee Rice, based on his opportunities, is taking advantage of all his opportunities. And maybe the Chiefs are still figuring some things out for his prototypical kind of wideout. You know what he is. You know, is he going to run more tight end routes? Is going to be more like I think he's going to be a red zone guy, like I said before. But I mean, who knows, man? Who knows if the Chiefs are still figuring out things and drawing up plays for him? But I expect the genius that is Andy Reid and Matt Nagy to figure some things out down the road if he is capable of doing such. So we will get there, man. We just got to be patient. I think we were just ready to see him blast off week 1, and that's just not going to be the case. Even Brett Veach himself said from the beginning of the year that those guys, him and Rashee Rice, are package players. Right, and even more so, Rashee Rice's packages obviously seem to be more utilized because he's getting more work. And he already has Pat's trust. So we just got to be patient, man. I think those weeks will come for Justin Ross. So I do believe he will have a Justin Ross game or two. I do that. I think that's going to happen this year. Next question from our guy, James T. Kirk. Why do you think QBs Justin Fields and Zach Taylor are struggling? Well, for 2 different reasons.
Go ahead.
So with Justin Fields, he's struggling because schematically because the team is forcing him to be something he's not. They're taking the stripes off the zebra. Justin Fields is a freak athlete. We saw that last year when they pulled off the game plan because this was the same thing that was going on last year at the beginning of the year. They were trying to make him like this prototypical pocket passer, and this is not what he is. That's like trying to make Cam Newton that. Cam Newton was great because Cam Newton was being himself. Cam Newton was great and he was rushing all those touchdowns and he was running around making plays. That was Cam Newton just being himself and playing what he knows and utilizing his strengths. They need to let Justin Fields do that. He's not the best thrower of the football. I agree with that. He's not a prototypical pocket passer, but I think he's good. I think Justin Fields is really good, and I think he's going to be a really good player in this league if they let him just be himself and work to his strengths. You put him on an Andy Reid offense, Andy Reid would find ways to make him elite in this game. He would just like he made Alex Smith, gave Alex Smith his best year because he went to his college tape and he played the way he played to his strengths and utilized his mobility and the quick check down game and the quick passing game. I think that's what they need to really do, and let's let him play to his strengths. That's why he's struggling. It's not because of him. I really don't believe so. He's holding on to the ball too long because he's overthinking because they're trying to make him to something he's not. Zach Taylor.
Wilson.
He said Zach Taylor. Zach Wilson's struggling because Zach Wilson sucks. He sucks at football. He's not good. The O-line sucks there. That's a bad combination. I get it. But Zach Wilson, we've seen enough. Just like, what's his name? Hall of Famer said on the radio show, we've seen enough.
Joe Namath, yeah.
Joe Namath. We've seen enough. And I think he speaks for everybody, man. I know the coaching staff wants to stick with him because they drafted him, and that was their guy that they drafted. They invested high on him, but he's just not it, man. And the team is turning on him just like last year. The team was turning on him last year. The team is turning on him again. It's just a bad look. So they're struggling for two different reasons. One's not good at football. One is, but they're being used wrong, right? So I still fully believe in Justin Fields. Let's see. Adam Cole. Will Dana continue to improve? Will Dana continue to improve and contribute more often? 100%.
Oh yeah. Well, so Mike, see, this is what I said about Mike Dana this week about how this guy is showing us that he wants to get paid, and that's an ultimate motivator for a lot of these guys. Most of these guys, if we're being honest here, because of the fact that we know that most careers only last 2.5, 3 years. And Mike Dana was a guy that I think very much has slipped through the cracks as far as attention is concerned, as far as expectations are concerned. But see, I had this. I'm glad this was brought up because I wanted to talk about Mike Dana today, and I'm glad that this is why I love this segment, man. You guys get me cooking. So I wanted to give you guys a breakdown of Mike Dana's career so far and how impressive he's been so far this season. So sack total through 13 games in 2020, he had 2.5. Sack total through 17 games in 2021, he had 3. Sack totals through 13 games in 2022, he had 5. Sack total through 3 games in 2023, 2.5. So essentially, in 3 games, in less than a month's time, Mike Dana has already done just as much or more than what he did in 2 of his previous 3 seasons. This man has fully embraced the notion that contract year is undefeated. He knows that he wants to get paid.
He's good too, man.
And it's not going to be in
He's
Kansas
good,
City.
though.
It's not going to be in Kansas City. He's going to get paid somewhere else, a lesser team.
Yeah.
But someone's going to dish out some money to Mike Dana.
I'm
He's
a fan,
26.
yeah.
He'll be 27 next season, hitting the prime of his career. This dude's going to get himself a nice little fat paycheck because he's earned it. I think, don't be shocked, man, if Mike Dana has 7-8 sacks this year. Just don't be shocked.
I agree.
He's already got 2.5. And with everybody else that's going to take all the attention of Chris Jones and Amenahu and Karloftis and obviously FAU, like I said, I'm high on him this year. Do not be shocked, man, when Mike Dana gets a couple games where he's like, did he just have 2 sacks? And watch over the Chargers.
Yeah.
For some reason, this
I was
man
gonna say,
loves
in this division, dude.
He loves to sack Justin Herbert. It's just something about it. And with the unfortunate,
He's the one that hurt Justin Herbert last year, man. He put him on his ass.
And the unfortunate, and I mean this with all sincerity, the unfortunate news we got about Corey Linsley, the center for the Chargers.
Yes.
Horrible situation. Hope he's okay.
It's kind of swept on the rug too. It wasn't like big news across the.
I think it's because now Corey Linsley's been having a series of injuries in his career, man. Last year,
anything with the heart, bro. Like
it's really scary. I hope he's okay. But
big fella like that
could be something that opens up the door for Mike Dana to get a couple interior rushes.
Yeah, I don't even know who their backup center is.
I have no idea.
That's
man.
rough.
Really sucks. I wish him the best.
Solid player.
Guys
man.
like Mike Dana could very much capitalize on that.
Yeah. Final question from our guy James T. Kirk, Captain Kirk. Final question: Dame gets traded to Milwaukee. Does this make the Bucks a lock for the NBA Finals?
It doesn't make him a lock, but it makes him a favorite.
Damn near.
It makes him a favorite. The problem though is the Bucks do have some inefficiencies. They're old. They don't have good defense right now. They got some things they got to figure out. But the beautiful thing about the NBA is that you can always get these mid-level exceptions. You can get veterans on minimum deals that want to team up and get a ring that have already made their money. We can speculate on who those guys are going to be. But I do love this move for both Dame and for the Bucks because the Bucks realize that Giannis very much believes what he said when he said a couple months ago that, I don't know if I want to be here long term. I don't know what they're going to do.
That's a smart play.
And they woke up. And unlike the Cavs the first time with LeBron, they decided to take that seriously. I will say, however, I do find it funny that this was obviously Damian Lillard did agree to this trade because the Blazers weren't going to send him somewhere he didn't want to go. That guys like Giannis and Dame are teaming up when they both are the guys that claimed, like, you got to do it the right way.
I did see a report today, though, that Dame was trying to structure something to where if he didn't get traded to the Heat, he wanted to rescind his trade request. So I think he really, really wanted to go to the Heat, but he ended up, obviously, I think this is a better move for him, honestly. You got Middleton himself and Giannis. I mean, that's a
dangerous trio.
Yeah, and you got the depth of that team already and the good coaching of that team already, and then obviously
we don't know yet about that coach because he's new.
True, but I mean, you got Giannis, you got a multiple MVP. A guy that can lead the way. I just want to say this too. It was a 3-way trade with Portland. Obviously, they got Drew Holiday, but I think Drew Holiday and DeAndre Ayton. Who's a Jag? I think in this league, if I'm being honest. But Drew Holiday is still a star in this league. And I think the Kings 100% should try to go get him because I think they're going to trade him after they've acquired him. A backcourt with De'Aaron Fox and Drew Holiday. My God, that's a defensive studded point guard, 2-guard backcourt right there. I would love to see him in a Kings jersey. Please make that happen. A lot of people are agreeing with me with the Derrick Henry take. We got Ruben agreeing with me.
Sign me up.
Adam Cole agreeing with me. Can you guys imagine that? I'm just saying, dude. Ah, man, red and gold Henry jersey. My God, that'd be a sight to see. Punching touchdowns in, man. Let's see. All right, we got one here. Mika on YouTube. Do you think it's a problem with chemistry with MVS and Mahomes? He has chemistry. He has chemistry with Watson. I mean, the chemistry with Justin Watson is there because I don't know. Maybe this. I think it is. I mean,
the chemistry
it's got to be some of that.
The chemistry cannot be non-existent with MVS and Mahomes if they have a game
trust.
like they did with the Bengals.
Sure.
In the AFC Championship game, the chemistry is there, the trust is there. We have to hone in our expectations with guys like MVS and guys like Justin Watson because, be honest, they're the same player. Like, guys, look at Justin Watson right now. Everyone is hyping him up right now because he's been catching more balls than MVS, but who hasn't been? Justin Watson is averaging 22 yards per reception, and he's also averaging like 25 yards per game. It's not something he's not doing this all game long. He's catching one big pass here and one big pass there. It isn't about chemistry between these two guys with Patrick Mahomes. It's about the fact these guys aren't good enough to get open on a consistent basis. They have one trick. They run fast and they run deep. That's what they do. It isn't a chemistry thing. It's a skill thing. Yeah. That's why you see guys like Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce and Sammy Watkins and guys like that get 85 to 150 targets a year because they're finding space. They're creative with their feet.
Juju last year.
Yeah, man, like those guys are just better players. So it isn't a chemistry thing, in my opinion.
Well, it's a schematic thing, too. I mean, we're not taking as many deep shots because we're facing a lot of too high safety now. You know what I mean? So I think MVS's role is to kind of pull those safeties a little deeper and allow us to eat underneath and take what the defense gives us. I mean, it is what it is, man. The opportunity is just not there for him, and I think Justin Watson runs a little different routes too. He runs some deep crossers and stuff like that. He's not running a lot of 9 routes.
Yeah, those rake routes.
So he's running some more cross routes, and when Pat escapes the pocket and rolls out, it's easier for him to find those crossing routes than it is just a straight deep shot.
It helps with off-schedule plays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and MVS does similar things though, because we saw. Remember the Niners game last season?
Yes,
he was right in the middle of the field because he found the pocket, and Patrick just chucks it to him deep. Now it was a blowout.
And we've seen Sky Moore do some of the similar things already this year too. So I mean, hopefully this year goes out for a bang with MVS because I think this is his last year here. So hopefully he can string together some games and garner some respect amongst the fans. Little sketchy on him, man. Next question from Mika L. Should the Chiefs have kept Emir Smith-Marset? That kid's a stud, man. But where did he get traded to again? He got
Panthers, I want to say.
Yeah, it was the Panthers.
Look, I don't know how much more of a difference maker he would really been. No. I like the kid. I love what he did in the preseason. I would have loved to. I honestly said I would rather have him than Justin Watson because I think he's got more to his game. But you're seeing, and even though the Panthers don't have a very good quarterback situation right now, or maybe ever, we'll see about Bryce Young in a little bit. But I don't know how much more of a difference maker, like I was saying, that he would actually been in this offense in real games. I enjoyed what he looked like in preseason, but he's also 27 years old, right, if I'm not mistaken. He's a little bit older. He's been in the league for some time, and I think we know what he is. I would have loved to see him stay, but I don't know if he'd have done anything more than what we've seen from these other guys so far. I don't think he's a guy that tilts the scales and changes the entire trajectory of the offense. So I don't think it was a mistake. I just think it was one of those things where it's just, well, they didn't really lose out and they didn't really benefit either way. I think it's just kind of a whatever situation.
Personally, in hindsight, if I knew Richie James was going to look as bad as he has so far this year, I would have 100% cut Richie James and kept Marset. Marset looked good, man.
The only justification in keeping Richie James was his special teams, yeah.
Sure, and that's worked out.
Right, exactly. And
so
that's
in hindsight,
yeah.
In hindsight, I think I'd rather have Marset, man. That kid was running crispy routes. I mean, granted, it was preseason, but you can't really deny what you're seeing out there. Trish, YouTube. Will Trent McDuffie or Snead follow Garrett Wilson all game against the Jets? I don't think we're going to have anybody. We tend to keep our guys on their sides of the field. We don't have a corner that really follows guys around. So if Garrett Wilson ends up on Trent McDuffie's side a lot of the game, good luck, buddy. I don't care how good. I don't care how good you are.
Spags is gonna. I keep repeating myself, and I'm sorry that I'm doing that, guys. But Spags is very big on a rotation.
Yep.
He doesn't have guys stalking guys. It's not a one-on-one here and there.
And that's honestly dying amongst the league.
It is.
There's not a lot of corners that are traveling anymore. It's not Darrelle Revis anymore. You know
the
what I mean?
schemes are changing. They're evolving. They know they got to keep guys fresh, and it's unfair for a one-on-one situation all game long because corners are at such a disadvantage already. You're going to wear that guy
It's the toughest
down.
position in football.
Yeah, especially with all the pass plays that are happening. Like Darrelle Revis, no offense to him, but Darrelle Revis didn't face the pass-heavy offenses like they are now in his prime. In his prime, they were passing the ball 25 to 30 times, not 35 to 40.
Yeah.
So he was facing a lot less. He was still great, and I would love to have Darrelle Revis on this team, but I think the Chiefs have their own.
Yeah.
Trip McDuffie.
I agree. Brian Peck's question: Who will Sauce? It's in the same vein. Who will Sauce Gardner be shadowing? I say Sky Moore, maybe MVS. I don't think he shadows anybody, man. Like we just said, I don't think there's a guy that really deserves that kind of respect yet either on our receiving room.
And
the
Chiefs love to do this with number one corners. They love to get guys in motion.
Yeah.
Because what that does, that
Create
shows
space.
you whether they're playing zone or they're going to play man.
Yep.
And if you're getting Sky Moore running across, Kadarius Toney running across, Rashee Rice running across, then Sauce, if he starts to move and the safety picks up the receiver moving in motion, then you know what's coming. And so I think the Chiefs are going to get. I think the Chiefs are going to get Sauce in a lot of. And to be honest with you guys, if they try to get Sauce on Travis Kelce, I'm kind of hoping for that.
Oh, please!
I think Kelsey's going to make a condiment out of him.
Oh, dude, the size difference is unfair.
Yeah, I mean,
Stop it.
Sauce is a sizable corner. Don't get me wrong; he's 6'1", but if they put him on Travis Kelce, Travis is going to make work on Sauce. And I love Sauce.
Let's be very honest right now. Sauce had an incredible rookie year last year because he had a lot of picks.
Yeah, he's actually not been that great.
He has not been. I was just about to follow that up. He has not been very good this year against not very good offenses either.
And now that Kelsey's had a couple games to deal with that knee injury. I personally, I think Travis is gonna have a big game regardless.
They don't have anybody that can. They don't have the safeties that can.
Yeah,
man.
I
the
really,
linebackers that can. No, man. Travis Kelce, what he does, and it's a cheat code. What Travis Kelce has done and figured out in his connection with Patrick Mahomes, it's not something you can just defend.
Yeah,
it's something when the play breaks down, or they've even talked about it on the forget what it was on. They were talking about Kelce was like sometimes he doesn't even run the right routes. But Pat finds him because Kelce just abandons the route that was running because he didn't like it and it wasn't going to be there. There was a defender there, and he would just go to where the open part of the field was, and Pat would find him.
Yeah.
You can't defend that. You can't prepare for that because you can't prepare for improv routes.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's just the connection that those two guys have. You just can't. They're similar to Gronk and Brady. Like you just can't really defend it. You just hope you can contain it as much as possible. So that's having a guy trying to lock up Kelce is an absolute joke in my mind. I love hearing that kind of stuff. Let's see. James T. Kirk said Sauce probably will be shadowing TK. I really hope that happens. That'll blow this whole off. Pat will go nuts if they try to do that because that takes him off of any kind of deep shot. Yeah, that would be a mistake from the Jets side. Let's see. Trish once again on YouTube. Will we see more of Justin Ross in this game?
I kind of hope so. I will say this. I think that this would be an opportunity to see what Justin Ross can do against a good defense.
If we get in the red zone and we drop a Justin Ross jump ball, I'm all for that.
That's what I'm saying. Contextualize his snaps.
Yeah.
I don't think that Justin's going to get 10 to 15 snaps in this game. I think he's going to get more like 5 and I would hope that it'd be in the red zone. But like I said, that you have to garner trust.
Yeah.
And I think this could be a game where let's say the Chiefs are up 2 touchdowns at half, then you see Justin Ross in the third quarter. I think that's when you start to see him. But here's the thing, man. The first pass against the Bears went to who? Justin Ross.
Yep.
So Andy Reid likes to keep things like he's very unpredictable in what he does. Like you don't really understand like where Andy Reid's coming from and what he's trying to do with his game plan sometimes, and then you see it start to come to fruition as the game goes on. I think that Justin Ross is going to be. I'm in lockstep with Trevor on this. I think he's going to be a red zone target. Dude, 6'4".
It makes all the sense, man.
Automatic disadvantage with height and jumping ability. I think that he will be in the red zone this week. Do I think he's going to get a touchdown? Probably not. Do I think he's going to get a ton of catches? Probably not. Because like I said, there's other guys that are more invested. Travis Kelce's the bell cow, and you invested early draft picks in Kadarius, Sky Moore, and Rashee.
Yeah.
So those are going to be guys that you're going to see get more of the usage. But if Justin Ross gets a one-on-one against an undersized corner, and there's a fade route in line, I'm all for it, man. I'd love to see Justin Ross get a chance at that back pylon to see if he can get his feet in.
Absolutely. In the red zone, you gotta find a way to defend the height and the athleticism of Justin Ross, and then the height and size and dominance of Travis Kelce in a package with Patrick Mahomes on the ball. Good luck, man. Like I think once he gets entrenched in this offense more and more, I think Justin Ross will 100% be a red zone threat moving forward. And I think he'll score a few touchdowns maybe this year on those kind of packages once we get rolling. I do believe that. That is all the questions we have right now, man. So, man, shout out. The chat was live once again, man. I really appreciate all you guys. Some new faces, some new names. Trish, welcome to the chat. It was good seeing you.
She's back, baby. I mean, she's
good
been
seeing
with us.
you again. Yeah, it was good seeing you again back in here. I think she has one more question for us.
Let's do it.
See. How many total sacks from our D-line against the Jets? I think the Jets will run the ball a lot. eliminating a chance for a high sack total. Yeah, I agree.
All right, well, give her a number, and I'll give you mine.
I think we can get at least 3 sacks because Zach Wilson is awful. He holds on the ball too long. If he's not going to throw a ball into double, triple coverage and possibly throw a pick, we're going to get a sack. I think Chris Jones is going to anytime they try to throw the ball, if they try to run some kind of run pass option kind of play or anything like that, I think RPOs, if they try to do that with Breece Hall or whatever, the corpse of Dalvin Cook, I think Chris Jones is going to blow up a lot of plays. I think George Karlaftis has a great opportunity to get another sack here. And Mike Dana, of course, out there, eating alongside Chris Jones. I think this defensive line is primed, and Zach Wilson just loves to give up sacks. He loves to hold on to the ball too long and be indecisive with his plays. So I think the Chiefs can at least go get 3 sacks tomorrow for sure. But,
you want to hear my number?
Let's go.
5.
I do 5?
5.
I do agree that the Jets are going to try to run the ball, but I think we're going to score and we're going to force them to chase points, and that's when the sacks will start collecting up.
5.
5 sacks. That's definitely doable. I just kept it moderate at 3 because I do agree. I think they will try to run the ball, and I think this will be a lower scoring game. But
Chris Jones will have 2 sacks. George Karlaftis will have a sack. Mike Dana is going to have a sack, and FAU gets first sack of his career. I look, man. This offensive line is terrible for the Jets. It without question, it's terrible. And as it stands right now, let me look at these numbers. Zach Wilson is currently tied for 5th in sacked, most sacked quarterback in the league, despite the fact that he is 27th in dropbacks.
Yeah,
so he's 27th in dropbacks, and he has the 5th most sacks. So yeah, the Chiefs defensive line is going to get at him a lot this week. I think, like I said, Chris Jones is going to have multiple because those guards on the interior side of that offensive line are just not going to be able to withstand him. I just think that, yeah, like I said, these guys are. I think Spags is going to be sending the dogs. He's going to basically tell the Jets, beat us over the top, throw the ball. Beat us with your pass game. We're going to send the dogs. They're going to blitz all night. In fact, I'll recant it. I think the Chiefs will have 5 sacks, but I think that one of the sacks are going to come from a blindside blitz. I think Shamari Connor or L'Jarius Sneed or Trent McDuffie, one of those guys get a sack.
Such an effective play.
Like maybe Chris Jones gets like 2.5 sacks, and it's like a half sack with him and Trent McDuffie or L'Jarius Sneed. Either way, the Chiefs are going to be sending the dogs all night, and Zach Wilson's going to have a really bad game, guys, because the pressure is going to be there all night long. Mekhi Becton and the other tackle, I forget his name, Dwayne Jones. They're just not set for this kind of game. It's going to be humiliating, and I think that, yeah, you're going to try to run the ball, but with the run stuffing that the Chiefs have been able to do with success of these last couple of years, that's going to get stifled out as well, and then they're going to have to throw the ball because they're going to get blown out, and that's when Chris Jones and the boys get their jobs done. So I'm going to say 5 sacks.
Gotcha. Next, one more final question from James T. Kirk. He said, I know I said final question before, but I had to ask this. Let me get this out of here. I had to ask this. Stephen A. Smith is still saying that the Chiefs need Tyreek Hill. Can you set him straight? Bro, that's a year late, man. We already won a Super Bowl without that guy.
Yeah, I can and I will, for James' viewing pleasure, scoreboard. Trevor just said it right there. I saw and I heard Stephen A. say that as well. I understand what Stephen was trying to say about, obviously they won last year, so they didn't need him last season, but they need him now. I still disagree with that. I mean, would I love to have Tyreek Hill on this team? Yes. But, guys, there's a reason why I still pick this Chiefs team despite my consistent worries at wide receiver, because I do believe the Chiefs can overcome those issues. So is it a need? Not necessarily, because if the Chiefs had a bad offensive line, I would say I don't think the Chiefs can win the Super Bowl. Therefore, they need to have a Trent Williams. Therefore, they need to go and get a Brandon Sheriff. They need to go and get somebody that can be a difference maker at a position of need. I don't think that the wide receiver room is bad enough that keeps the Chiefs from winning the Super Bowl again. So therefore, I don't view Tyreek Hill's absence as a big enough problem for where it's a need. I think that's a want. I wanted DeAndre Hopkins. I wanted the Chiefs to keep Juju Smith-Schuster. Do I think those guys not being here is the reason why the Chiefs can't or won't win the Super Bowl? Absolutely not. And if Stephen A. was being honest, like he has to be, like he has been, because I've heard him say it himself, he still believes the Chiefs can win the Super Bowl this year. I heard him say it 2 days ago on First Take, or 3-4 days ago with Shannon Sharp on the show. He said, I still think it's the Chiefs when they're talking about the team to beat in the AFC. Shannon Sharp picked the Dolphins, because I understand. I mean, the Dolphins are playing insane football right now. and Stephen A. picked the Chiefs. So clearly the Tyreek Hill isn't a big enough need for him. And ironically, the team he didn't pick had Tyreek Hill, where Shannon Sharp picked. So no, I'm not. I don't believe that at all. I disagree with Stephen A. And if Stephen A. was truthful, he would understand that he also disagrees with himself in that take because he still believes the Chiefs are the team to beat.
Yeah, it's simple for me, and that is the final question of our chat. But it's simple for me to end on that note. We won the Super Bowl without Tyreek Hill last year. Saying that we need Tyreek Hill this year after coming off of a Super Bowl victory is the stupidest thing, and it's a non-starter. Doesn't make any sense. We won without him. Let's move on. All right, man. That's it, man. Man, the chat is. You guys are legendary, man. I appreciate you guys so much. You guys, this segment is becoming probably our favorite of the show.
Absolutely.
Just being able to interact and answer questions and bringing up different topics that we didn't think of or ones we didn't touch on or touch on more and a little more in depth as well, or revisiting certain things. Or, talking about trading for Derrick Henry, that's something I want to do. Come on, Chiefs, let's do it. But yeah, man, love you guys. Much love. It's great seeing all the interaction. Even the side conversations going on between you guys in the chat is cool too.
Yes.
So keep it up, man. This is something we enjoy every week and something we're still getting used to. So
yeah, I appreciate it. I echo Trevor's sentiments, man. One thing we've never struggled with here is knowing how much people care, because even before we started the comment section of the show, we had a lot of you guys interacting still, and we have a ton of people on the Facebook community, on the Twitter community that are involved, that care.
Yeah.
Whether people even don't like our show or don't care about us, the fact that they're still chiming in does tell us we care, and I mean that sincerely. It's flattering. And so the fact that you guys take the time, like I said, on your weekends to hang with us, I don't know how much more humbled I could be. It means the absolute world to us. Go ahead.
And I want to say one thing. I think I'm going to start doing this weekly thing in the group. So if you guys aren't in the Facebook group, get in the Facebook group. I'm going to start putting together a spoken parlay for every week. So I want to gather all your guys' whatever you think your best player props are, or whatever you think your best spread bets are, or whatever, and maybe put together a 6-leg parlay every week, and I'll throw some dough on it and see if we win, just to kind of keep the interaction alive for the group here. And if you guys want to come in and give me your thoughts on what you think a good play is, if there's some good money, good leverage on a bet, we'll get a thread together and put together our best 6. And maybe put together a spoken parlay every week and just go on that and see if we can see if we can win some dough, man.
That's a great idea. I've been telling Trevor for the longest time, man, that he needs to start putting, because Trevor is the most obsessed parlay guy, betting odds dude. I know. On Sundays, I'm sitting here chilling, watching my.
It's one of my vices, man.
Trevor's over there just sweating, hit the 7-leg parlay. It's hilarious watching. So yeah, I think that's a great idea, and let's go ahead and do that, man. That's an awesome idea. I think that's because there's in the group you will see there are side chats you can have, so you can definitely throw that out there. And I think that's an awesome idea. So go ahead and hit us up on Facebook, guys. You see the link at the bottom. It's just the spoken on Facebook. You hit the invite button if you've not already done it. We'll bring you in. You're part of the community automatically.
And I'll probably share it. I need to get more active on X. I'm not on there hardly ever, or on social media much in general, if I'm being honest with you guys. I'm not. That's more Lance's avenue. But maybe I'll get on X as well and put start a thread on there and see if you guys want to interact on there. Or even on Saturday show, throw some, if you guys are during the live chats, throw some some of your favorite bets, or prop bets or whatever on there, and see if we can throw it in a mix, and we'll come up with our best 6. I don't think any more than 6, it starts to get a little fishy and tough to hit, but a 6-legger is doable. So let's start doing that moving forward, man.
Trevor X. I appreciate that's gonna be a good one. I can't wait. We have one more order of business to get to. Trevor, what is it called? Hold this L. Each and every episode, we finish off each and every episode with a series of L's in the world of sports. Whether those L's are friendly or not so friendly L's in the world of sports, we promise you, who's ever holding those L's in the world of sports deserve those L's in the world of sports. Trevor Twidwell, who's holding L for you this week?
Listen, so I'm just going to keep this right in the same vein with the team that we're facing this week, and the New York Jets, and the disaster that Zach Wilson has become. And I want to keep kicking this man when he's down. But the guy, some of it's self-inflicted, and I'm going to keep this short and sweet, no pun intended, and you'll see why I'm not intending the pun. So there's been tensions, obviously, been reporting between not only Coach Saleh and the defense, but the defense and Zach Wilson. This stems back to last year when Zach Wilson was not wanting to take accountability for the terrible play he was doing and really, really hamstringing the defense. The defense was playing incredible last year, and the defense has been solid this year. But they're constantly on the field because the offense is absolute ass, and he's terrible. So to make amends with the team, the locker room, Zach Wilson decided, and this has been reported, I can't say this is completely a fact, but this has been reported by, I think, the beat writer of the Jets, one of the beat writers of the Jets.
Rich Cimini?
Yeah, that Zach Wilson, in order to mend things and make things a little bit better between him and his teammates, he bought the team ice cream.
If Rich Cimini said that did happen.
He bought the team ice cream. This is why I said I want to keep it short and sweet. Because Zach Wilson thinks maybe a Rolex. I know the guy's not rolling that deep. I know, but he's a first-round pick, so he's got first-round money. But Jesus Christ, ice cream, dude? Like, that's what you think is going to get all the guys on your good side? Just go and buy some Haagen-Dazs, bro? Like, some Dippin' Dots? Like, what are we doing, man? Like, this is summer's over, buddy.
Hey, Trevor,
like,
I'm sorry we had a really bad show today. Can I go get you ice cream?
Yeah, dude. Sorry I cheated on you, babe. Here's some ice cream. Like, bro, what is going on right now? So, I don't need to add too much more to that. That's Zach Wilson's solution to butter up his teammates and going in to get the shellacking from the KC Chiefs that they're about to endure. So maybe sweetening the blow might help a little bit. So
sorry for these 4 interceptions I'm about to throw this week, guys.
Yeah. Here's a bucket of Blue Bell.
Baskin Robbins.
Yeah, here's a bucket of Blue Bell, buddy. Just plain vanilla. That's probably all it was. It was probably fucking plain vanilla.
Syrup? No,
dude.
I'm white.
Vanilla bean, baby. It was no chocolate syrup, nothing,
this
no nuts.
As white as I am.
Not even Neapolitan, bro. It's just plain vanilla, bro. You already know. But yeah, so my guy Zach Wilson continued to take L's, man. He's gonna get another one today. So Zach Wilson, do me a solid favor, buddy, and hold this L. My goodness.
I almost put through a pun in there when you said that the defense has been solid. I'm like, has the defense been solid? It's been solid defense,
bro. So the stories just they make themselves.
I wish I would have had Trevor go last because that's the lighthearted L. Because I have one that's not, and I hate to be the damper. I hate to be the guy that brings the room down for a second. But this has to be addressed because in sports and in life in general, there are all kinds of different people, and I like to consider Trevor and I pretty good dudes. I consider all you guys awesome people, mostly just because you guys support our show. But I'm sure that a lot of you guys have really good hearts, and you're good to your families, good to your friends, and you're charitable people. That's the way you're supposed to live. The unfortunate thing is there's a lot of scumbags out there too, and Curt Schilling is one of them. And I grew up watching Curt Schilling play baseball. He's one of the greatest pitchers I've ever seen play baseball, but he's also one of the most despicable human beings on this planet. And I'm not even trying to go into his political views. I'm not trying to go into anything else. I'm going to talk about a very specific situation that came about this week. So one of my favorite pitchers of all time was named Tim Wakefield. He was the greatest knuckler of all time. And I grew up watching this guy. He just marveled. He was an awesome pitcher for a couple of teams, in particular the Red Sox, and helped them win in insane fashion multiple times. There's some really shitty situations that are going on in the Wakefield family. For one, Tim Wakefield's wife, Stacy, was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And if you know anything about pancreatic cancer, that is not good at all. It doesn't end there, though, because Tim himself was diagnosed with brain cancer. And that's also a very scary situation for a human being to have to encounter, especially for your family, for your kids, your friends, everybody. It's tough on everybody. That in itself is horrible. But Curt Schilling decided to make it even more horrible for Tim Wakefield and his family by going on his shitty podcast and deciding to let the world know about it when Tim and his family intentionally tried to keep this under wraps because they didn't want the world to know about it because they're a private family and they have every right to keep something this terrible under wraps because that is something that some people don't want to talk about to the world and don't want to have to deal with out in the open. But Curt Schilling said because, and I quote, when it comes to Tim Wakefield and whether he wanted people to know about this, he's not asked this to be shared, and I'm not even sure he wants it to be shared, but because I'm a man of faith, I want to put this out here. You're a piece of shit, Curt. Flat out, period, point blank, man. You're a piece of shit. And this has been proven time and time again, and it's not even my stance. Jeff Pearlman, all these other reporters in the baseball community, players, former players, have come out and said that I can't remember a single player that liked Curt Schilling. And reasons like this are why. Because this dude was more concerned about getting clout off the story, off a former player, let alone a former teammate that you won historically with. He was a part of that team that was down 0-3 against the Yankees in the ALCS. You won historically, the only team to ever come back from that and then win the World Series for the Boston Red Sox for the first time in 86 years. You guys had a special bond, something that will never be forgotten by you and by the rest of the sports world. And you decided to do this to him? How fucking dare you, man? You're horrible. You're scum, dude. I just hope, Trevor, that I never do anything close to this to somebody that's supposed to matter to me, or anybody for that matter.
Yeah.
If somehow, some way, Trevor, you and I got a scoop on this story, but we knew that Tim and his family wanted to keep it private, you bet your ass we ain't saying shit on this show or on our Facebooks or Twitter, even though it would garner us a lot of attention. We'd probably get some clout out of it. But is clout worth your integrity? Fuck no. So for Tim and his family, I am so sorry. Even the Red Sox came out and had to address it.
Damn.
And talked about how they're sorry that came out when they knew already that Tim and his family didn't want this being spread. This scumbag piece of shit had to come out there and put that out there. So Curt Schilling, I'm giving you the biggest L of this show's ever had. You're a scum of the earth, dude. You disgust me. And I hope you know this. Oh wait, he doesn't because he blocked me on Twitter for this. So for that, Curt, you're getting one anyway. Do me a solid, motherfucker, and hold this L.
All of them.
I'm sorry, man, that I had to end the show because this has been a fun show. We just talked about it. The chat was awesome. But, Trevor, this literally, dude, it got me emotional, man, when I first heard about this.
Yeah, it has emotional ties to us as kids, man. We were rooting for that Red Sox team. We hated the Yankees. That was the Band of Idiots was one of the funnest stories in baseball history.
Yeah. And just from a humanistic standpoint, if you even put the sports side of it aside, these are people. And you're going to sensationalize the story of two people that might lose their lives.
Yeah.
Like, it's horrible, man. What the hell?
You don't get much more personal than a cancer diagnosis between you and your wife. I mean, his wife alone was a story in itself before,
seriously,
but now
I'm gonna see if I can buy a one-way ticket to hell for Curt Schilling, man, because that was just the worst thing that a human can do to somebody else. But you know what? What we're not gonna do is we're not gonna let people like that continue to override the things that we're doing here and other people are doing out there, which is trying to spread the good positivity and enjoy the fun that is sports and sport talk. We're going to rise above that shit, but we have to address these things from time to time, man. I feel that was our responsibility at our platform to do so, but we are going to continue to have fun here, man. I promise you guys that is the goal here. We're going to always have a good time with you guys. We want to laugh. We want to keep it up. We're going to give you guys our honest takes every single time, no matter what. I promise you, Trevor and I, every single week, our goal when we come onto the show is to give you guys our truth. Whether you agree with it or agree with it, that's the beauty of this stuff, man. As we converse, we talk these things out. Trevor and I disagree on a lot of things, man, when it comes to this stuff, but it's the beautiful thing at the end of the show. Every single time we dap each other up because, man, that was fun. We set out a goal and we reached that goal 236 consecutive times, and that is today on the 236th episode of the show. And the fact that you guys are a part of this means everything to us, and we could not thank you more than we already have right now. We hope that you guys want to stick around because we love doing this with you guys, and I hope that you guys want to continue to do it with us. So for Trevor Twidwell for helping me keep this thing together and have fun every single week, for the great Clay Windler that puts this all together on the back end, that also dropped another banger on Red Stripe Cinema. I hope you guys watch it because it was funny as hell. It was a great video. I hope you guys enjoy it. Go to Red Stripe Cinema and subscribe to that because he has the best Chiefs videos on the absolute planet. I am Lance Twidwell of the Spoken Podcast. Episode 236 is done, finished, and finito. And until we're back here in 1 week's time, talking about the Chiefs moving to 3-1, about to start getting into some divisional games for 237. We out of this bitch.
Later.